This should be a pretty fun one. Hey, what's up, dude?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, look at you. You got the logo in the background.
I do this shit professionally, man. I ain't messing around.
I know, man. Look at that. You even got a backdrop, little red lighting. Set the mood. I see you, bro.
Dude, I have thousands and thousands of dollars of camera gear for the videos. I don't do cell phone videos for my group.
Hell yeah, man. I dig it.
That's my thing, bro. Quality of everything.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, dude, especially, coming off such a massive win. We'll talk about that here pretty shortly, but we've been trying to do this for a while. We've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, and then finally we were like, hey, let's go.
Times you were like, I guess you're not. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I read the message and I just didn't write anything. So I was like, my bad, dude. I'm not ignoring you. Dude, my life's really crazy busy right now. So I have 3 kids and they're playing every sport. I'm like, I don't have the money for all these sports. Plus for me, what are we doing here?
Seriously, man, you gotta pick one.
They're killing me, man. Right now, one of them just got done with basketball, and now she's in. She wants to do softball. I'm like, ugh. And then they asked me if I would coach. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have to. The next 2 months of matches are insane. So,
yeah, it's about to get real fast. Do you have wired headphones? Because your AirPods cut the audio.
See if I can take them off, bro. Hold on, let me take them off.
It might work better that way. Oh, no.
Is that better?
Go ahead. Yeah,
Can you hear me
better.
now? All right, cool.
Yeah, so for some reason with AirPods, when you're doing any type of podcasting, soon as someone else starts talking, it cuts the AirPods off.
Well, technology is great and bad at the same time, bro.
Yep, sucks. Brennan said
So
eBay
I was asking before my AirPods went off is what's your next match? Where are you headed next?
Area 6.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Area 6 and then Texas Open, then Dragon Cup is how I start off my first month of shooting.
No Alabama?
No, I don't think so. The Alabama sectional?
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks. So
No, not doing that one. So March is a crazy month for me. So I've got my birthday and then my dad's birthday and friends' birthdays and everybody's birthdays in March. So every weekend I'm tied up in March. So it's like,
That's
hey,
cool.
who knows?
Yeah.
So I usually start my season in April, unless I start it in February. It just depends. But I usually try to take March off.
That's cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. Give my wife a little time.
Yeah, well, you have to do that.
Yeah,
there's no sports.
Did you take an off season this year?
I did, dude. I don't know if I'll do it again. I think if I get some more time behind this to where I don't feel like I suck, I think I'll take a time off. But dude, this year was tough, man. If it wasn't for the Florida Open, I don't know where I'd be at, honestly, because I took over a month off, and my buddy Craig, who I do the podcast with and everything, I said to him, I was like, man, I'm struggling to even want to go practice. And it's not because I don't want to get better. It's just like, man, I just shoot so much in Florida. We shoot all year round. So there's really no off season. And with a couple of buddies of mine, I run 2 matches a month. So it's like, all right, I'm not going to go build on Saturday and then run the match on Sunday and not shoot. So, I'm really getting a break. But this time I actually took a break. I actually went up to see my parents in Tennessee, worked on their house and stuff during Christmas, and went for Thanksgiving this year, which I usually don't. And man, I was like, I'm out. Like, I'm taking a break. Like, didn't even take my gear up there.
Yeah. Just
so
it was left everything.
Yeah, man. It's like the mental motivation was the problem, right? Like, once I got to the range, it's kind of like working out. Once I got to the range, I was like, yeah, let's go. This is what I love. And then I was like, all right, cool. So I practiced twice before the Open. I had 2 practices, and they were great practices. So I was like, all right, I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. So, and then it just seemed to work out.
Oh yeah, it worked out just fine.
Work out. Yeah.
Let's
my buddy Craig. Go ahead.
So let's talk about the Florida Open, because you kind of shocked the world, me included. I mean, not that I didn't know you were a top-notch shooter, but I mean, Chris Tilley, Lescar, Aaron Edens, JJ, Max, just to name a few, couple champions in there, world champions, national champions. It shook everybody, I can tell you that. So when the match result, that's why. So I found out from like 5 other people. They were immediately like, "Bro, did you see Tom killed everybody at the Florida Open?" And I was like, "What?" I checked the match results, and that's when I hit you up. I was like, "Bro, am I reading this right, or did you just dominate?" Because it wasn't a close. Like, I don't want to say it wasn't close, but 4% is not really close. If you're talking about Open, right? There was a 4% gap in Open. That's a pretty good ass whooping on most standards.
So I'm starting to get used to the open gun. I'll say that's helped a lot. I have spent a lot of time behind that gun since January. And what I mean by that is I'm not jumping back and forth between carry optics and open. I'm just dedicating myself to that. And it's really funny because before that match, I don't ever look at who I shoot against. I don't care who's there. I shoot for me. I can't change how they shoot anyway. But I will tell you that I saw JJ and Max Michel were shooting carry optics, and I'm like, I want a piece of that. And then I was like, no, stay the course, bro. Stay the course. And I did. And then I realized, like, after the match, who was there. And I was like, holy shit. Like, okay, I'm proud of myself, but JJ and Max almost still won. Son of a bitch, right? Like 15 points from Max. And I always look at combined scores, so I'm like, man, I sucked, right? Like, he almost beat me with a minor gun. And then I realized, like, who it is, right? Like, it's a different level. A couple guys were like, I was like, man, I beat Max Michel. And they were like, yeah, but he shot carry optics. I said, I don't give a shit if that guy shoots a revolver. I'm taking that win.
100%, bro. 100%.
Like, he's all, dude. And I messaged JJ. I've never met Max, but I've met JJ. He lives down here in our area. And I messaged him. I said, you guys, like, what the hell? Like, holy shit. Like, they're unbelievable, dude. Like, they're unbelievable. Like, with a minor gun. I was like, oh yeah, I don't know if I did that good.
Let me tell you, you did fantastic. Those guys are just freaks. They're freaks of nature, and they shoot their carry optics guns like open guns. Right. I'll tell you a funny story about Max, the type of savage that guy is. I took a class here in Houston with him like a year or so ago, because I had taken everybody's class except for Max. So I was like, I want to see what this is about, learn from obviously one of the greatest trigger pullers of all time. Yeah. So at the end, he puts a drill together where he puts like a little, I guess it's like a mini stage to see, like, put everything together you learned, right? And he tells you, like, a good GM should be here. A great GM should be here, right? I'm not a GM, I'm an M. So he's like, you should be right around here. I'm like, no, I'm going for that one, right? I shoot it, crush it. I'm like, right? Feeling like a badass. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, all right, Max, let's see it. And he goes, okay. I got my carry optics gun, but sure. Dude, he beats me by like, and keep in mind, this is a 5-second drill.
Right.
For like someone like us, right? I think I did it in like 460 something. And he runs it in like 410.
Yeah, I got you.
So he runs it in like 410, and then the other guy who had taken the class before goes, "No, Max, turn it up." And I'm like, "What? That's not up?" No. He goes, "Okay." You see him kind of zone in. He runs a 360, and right. the drill should have been a 5-second drill. When you look at it, it's like a little mini stage. You're like, how in the fuck did he shoot that in 3 and some odd seconds? Guy's a freak.
Yeah. So I watched. He doesn't post a lot of videos, bro, and it's very hard to really kind of see what he does. But he posts sections of videos, and the number one thing, dude, because I analyze my own videos like crazy, so I'm good at analyzing videos. So I watched his videos. The one thing that you can't tell that he does is he has really long legs. right? So like his stride is where his advantage is in a lot of ways, beyond his skill set, right? Like his physical ability is his stride. And if you ever notice how he shoots, he always stays square to the targets, like not just the targets, but also square to his movement. So like instead, like a lot of us, me included, I'll turn my shoulders to run. He kind of just shuffles that way and he's already there. And it's like, but again, he has the physical attributes to do that. If I don't have a long stride and I do a side shuffle, it's going to be slower for me.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the big thing I've noticed in his shooting. Like if you watch JJ shoot, I shoot more like him than I do Max Michel. Like JJ runs like he looks fast.
Yeah.
Right. Max Michel looks like he's standing still sometimes. And I'm like, where the fuck do you get that time when you don't run? It's insane. But that's where you learn from those guys, right? That's how you get better, is you start to pick those little things apart. So it was crazy. I didn't get to shoot around them. They shot like 2 days before I got there. So I didn't get to see it, but yeah, man, when I saw the numbers, I was like, all right, those are the guys right there. That's who I have to be. I didn't even look at open shooters for the entire match until day 2. Day 2 is when I started paying attention to it, because I was like, those are the 2 guys I'm chasing regardless. I'm sure they're going to be up there. So that was kind of how I based I'm not a score watcher really, but I always look after I shoot the stage, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do it. I don't want to know what I'm supposed to get, because like this match was a good example. There were stages that I shot that I was over a second faster than the other guys. And I was like, all right, if I would have looked at their scores or how they ran those stages, I would have had I was going to get their times, because I put a limit on what I could do instead of trusting my abilities and what I wanted to do. So it was different, man. It's, I don't know, man. The one thing that I hate about this sport is that I've been doing this for almost 3 years, bro. I've been winning matches and I get no love. Like, it's crazy. Like I won Georgia State with a PCC. If I remember correctly, I was the first guy to win a level 2 match with a rifle, and everyone's like, it's an effing rifle. Who gives a shit? Right? I mean, I've had people tell me you're not a real GM because you're a GM in PCC and you're a GM in carry optics. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't know what else I can do, bro. I mean, maybe get GM and revolver and I'll get that mad love. But I think it just that kind of helps motivate me. You know?
Yeah.
It kind of motivates me.
Yeah.
But
everybody finds their own motivation. You know what I mean? Some people seek it, like I'm real big on, I'll like latch onto something small. Like I'll pick something that probably wasn't even meant to motivate me. Like, somebody will say something or I'll read something and I'm just like, oh, okay, motherfucker, watch this.
Yeah.
Like every now and again when I get because this was the first time I took a real off season. I took a month off of not just shooting, like social media, everything. I just cut. I was just like, just shut it all off and just enjoy December. I'm done with it. And then when I came back, I was like, oh, I'm fucking hungry, and then you go to the range and you realize you lose a step, and I kind of got a little discouraged. And then, and then I was just like, you know what? I need to figure something out. And then I can't remember who said it or what, but I got just a random DM talking about like, oh man, I saw you at this match and, I picked you to win, but you lost. And, it really sucked and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what, motherfucker? You're not going to bet on me anymore, huh? All right, you son of a bitch. And I just kind of it's in, it's going. So then just sparked everything. And then I'll get kind of down in training or something, not hitting something right. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to fuck somebody up. But I use Range Panda a lot. I'm like, oh, you fat son of a bitch. Not, sorry, Panda, I love you. He's actually working out hard. I do too. He's actually working out just as hard as I am. He's trying to lose the weight. He's doing good.
That's good, man. Dude, I'm telling you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something that I changed this year. So last year I worked out really hard right before nationals, and then I fell off. Like, work took over and I couldn't. It just kicked my ass. Like, I was so busy at work and still trying to train and coach and run matches and do the stuff that we always do. and the diet fell off, the exercise fell off. Oh, actually, I remember I got super sick too. Like, I don't know if it was COVID, but who gives a shit? I was sick. So I lost like almost 3 weeks of, working out and training. Well, at that point, I think I was like 2 months out from nationals, and that was it. I was like, well, I'm just going to focus on shooting and working. And that was kind of it. It just kind of fell out after that. So then I went, and this year I'm like, dude, this is it. I'm done with the bullshit excuses. You're going to work out. You're going to get it done. I don't care what time it is at night. Your ass is getting in there, and you're going to, even if I did 30 minutes of anything, bro. I bought a punching bag for my wife for Christmas because she's a super athlete. And I'm like, this is at least cardio. I'm going in there now. I don't care. I'm doing something, because the number one thing that separates me, in my opinion, from the top guys is the in shape. Those guys are in shape. Like JJ's phenomenal, Christian's phenomenal, Max Michel's phenomenal. All those guys are in shape. So I'm like, all right, I have the mental game. I can shoot fast. I think the right way. What else is there? I'm like, you fat ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and even though at nationals I'm only shooting 6 stages, it adds up, dude. 6 stages a day adds up at the end. And payday is Sunday, man, is the last day. So if you're weak and tired and you're mentally just losing it, you're done, man. They got you. They have you before you get there already, because they're in shape. So that's one of the big things this year, man. Yeah.
Happened to me in nationals, dude. After day 2, I was only like 100 points back. And then, dude, day 3, I just fell apart. Dropped.
Yeah. All right. So, let me ask you this. What was your schedule for nationals? Did you shoot in the morning on Sunday?
PM.
Okay, so you shot AM, PM, AM, PM, right?
PM, AM, PM, yeah.
So for me, my bad day was day 2. And I talked to this was at Carry Optics, not open. I talked to JJ at Carry Optics Nationals, and I asked him, I said, dude, congratulations, phenomenal, sandbagging ass, unclassified shooter, by the way. I don't know how he won. He's so lucky, right? But yeah. I talked to him. I said, dude, I fell apart on day 2, and I was asking him, like, the first thing, and that's what's so great about JJ is he'll help you, right, without helping you. He doesn't even know he helps you. He just talks to you. So he said to me, he's like, did you change anything from day 1 to day 2 to day 3? And I said, yeah, man, day 2, I woke up. It was afternoon shift or AM shift. I woke up, grabbed some breakfast, and that was it. I didn't stretch. I didn't run. I didn't try to get warmed up. I just came out. I was like, let's rip it. Well, it was zone 2, which was all technical shit. And when you shoot a bunch of technical shit, it's here. It's not the physical that you have to worry about. It's the brain. Well, guess what? My brain and the physical weren't connected.
Yep.
And those stages were not hard. Like, I just sucked.
Zone 2 was where I fell apart too. I shot that on day 3.
Yeah. Dude, everybody said to me that Shannon shit was the hardest in zone 3. I murdered that area. Like, I came back over 100 points to jump into the top 25 because of zone 3. I was like, well, this shit is way easier than day 2 to me, because day 2, I just wasn't there. Day 3, I was like, okay, I'm going to let it rip. I'm going to be me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I did the same thing at nationals for open. Day 2, I was down. And I came back and kicked Range Pants' ass. That's all that mattered. Like, at the end of the day, I came in there and came back. And
at least one of us got him. Fuck. I'm never gonna live that down. I could beat that guy every match for the next 10 years, and he'd be like, "Well, I remember when you kicked your ass back in fucking nationals." But
yeah, nationals has been kicking my ass, honestly, dude. I put all my effort into nationals every year, and I'm top 25. That is fucking unacceptable to me. I can't stand it. And it's been every nationals, and it's driving me crazy. So now I'm like, all right, what is it? Obviously there's little things that go throughout nationals, but this year's nationals was like mind blown, dude, because I shot behind the super squad on both matches, the Carry Optics match and the open match. And I was like, these son of a bitches don't shoot like that at regular matches. That's not how they shoot. So I was like, they're not making mistakes. So they changed the way they shoot nationals compared to other matches. Mm-hmm. So that whole moving and shooting thing, they don't do that very much at nationals. They do a lot of run to a spot and shoot things. And I was like, oh, that's what I need to start thinking about when I'm going to nationals, right?
Yep.
So I thought that was a big, like, oh, okay, I got this. I need to pick the spots to shoot like I shoot, but I need to shoot more like them. I needed to have a mind shift on that.
Yeah,
That helped a lot, dude.
They take their risk reward factor and they dial it back a touch. And
Yeah.
I was kind of in the same boat after nationals. I looked at nationals and I was like, okay, well, I hated my performance on the third day. The first 2 days I was excited about, and I recorded everything. I recorded other people who were top 10 guys. I recorded their performance just because I like to put my videos over theirs, and I had people send me their videos. Analyzed everything after nationals. Was like, where am I losing time, right? In the shooting portion, I figured out where I'm losing some time, and it's transitions. It's purely transitions at distance. Anything past 10 yards, I'm losing a small fraction that adds up over the course of 18 stages, right? But for me, it was, dude, I'm out of shape. Like,
Yeah.
I looked at some guys who are in worse shape than me, crushing them, right? Looked at guys in slightly better shape than me, crushing them. You look at the guys like JJ, Christian, Casey, Lescar. Those guys are athletes. And I was like, okay, it's time. It's time. I'm done, and then tried to do it myself. Life got in the way. I was like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I found the best personal trainer in Houston. I was like, I don't care what it costs. I'm going to pay for this motherfucker for 3 months in advance, 3 days a week, plus a gym, and I got to go. And it's right by my office, luckily, and I've already paid him. So if I don't go, I'm out the money, and I'm too cheap. I'm like, fuck that. I'm using it, right? So now I've got no excuse. Just getting in fucking shape.
I think that's part of the problem with a lot of people is we do this for shooting, right? We do this because we like to shoot. We want to put bullets down range. But if you want this, like you truly want to be a badass, there's so much more that goes into it than bullets. Like bullets are the least important thing sometimes in what we do, right? Like
100%.
Being in shape's a great example, bro. Like, I talk to people all the time, and I'm not a big health nut guy. I'm not a guy who's like, oh man, eat lettuce. I'm like, no, man, give me that hamburger, cheeseburger, fries. I'm down with it, right? But when you start thinking about even a C-class shooter, do you want to be the best C-class shooter? It might be the 50 pounds that you have extra on your body that is changing the way you shoot. I mean, you got to think, how long do we have to hold our gun up? How much harder is it to get 50 pounds more moving, right? Like to get 50 pounds more moving than you need. It's like dude, think about it. You have a weighted vest on your body at 50 pounds for that weight. So, and I just use 50 pounds as an example, but it wasn't that long ago, man. I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was still doing what I do. And I was like, I know I could be better. So I started changing things, right? I stopped eating sugar. I haven't worn a knee brace in over a year, bro. In over a year, I haven't worn a knee brace because of sugar. I love sugar, but I was like, no more sugar. I had to go to different options to get my sweets. You know what I mean? So it's made a big difference, man. And I'm so glad to see you working out, man. You'll just feel better. Right? Oh, yeah. You'll feel.
I spent so much time like in years ago, when I was a little bit younger and not so beat up as an athlete and a good one. I mean, I've got a pretty badass athletic resume I could pull up, and you'd be like, oh fuck. But then you get older, life hits you. You get a full-time job. You get some small injuries here and there to take you out of the gym. You get married, you get happy, you get fucking lazy, then you get fat.
It's more of the marriage. It's more of the marriage, bro. It ruins it for a lot of guys because you're no longer chasing tail. You're focusing on, you're happy at home, and she's like, here, honey, here's a great meal. And you're like, babe, like my wife's a great example, bro. She's super in shape. She's a personal trainer. And then I come home today and she's baking cookies. I'm like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's like, no, you can't do that.
Somebody put these gummy bears are going in the trash right now. No, dude, but and I'll tell you the big motivation was I kept watching the videos, and I was all last season I was analyzing my videos versus people And I was like, where in the shooting am I losing time? Where in the shooting? Where in the movement, right? I wasn't looking at the little things. Like, I say I'm losing time on transitions at distance, but what helps with transitions? Having a stable base, having a stable musculoskeletal system and a nervous system capable of starting and stopping on a dime. Well, how do you get that? You work that, right? How do you get explosion out of a position without having to drop step? Being able to move like JJ, where he can leave a position without drop stepping, but it's fucking fast. Same with Christian. Christian has one of the best movers. How does he do it? The guy is fucking. Have you seen the guy's thighs and his fucking calves? His calves are the size of most people's thighs. They're explosive. They're powerful. They work it. So finally, my wife was like, "Well, stop bitching about it. Get in the fucking gym." And then I was like, "All right, enough said." So then. Not to mention, every time I fucking flip on Instagram, I see JJ working out.
With no fucking shirt on, that son of a bitch.
Every time. I told JJ this too, because when I was posting videos of me working out, he's like, glad to see you getting in shape. And I was like, you're the fucking reason, dude, because every single day I get up early. I'm up early. I get up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., right? And I'm headed to work. I scroll through Instagram and I see this asshole's already doing 1,000 push-ups or some god-awful thing, a body weight nutty shit. And I'm like, okay, here we go. That's why that guy is where he's at. And I'm sitting here not doing that. And that's why I'm where I'm at. So it's like, enough is enough. I'm going after it.
Yeah. I mean, that to me, that's, it changed a lot last year. A lot of things changed last year after Nationals. I was pretty pissed off. I'm actually surprised that I took the break that I did, because I was really pissed. Like, I was really mad, like, at myself, obviously nothing else, but I was very mad. I am very big on pointing the finger at me. It was something I learned. I waited late in life to figure that out. But, you know, I would say probably 10 years ago, I just started pointing the finger at everybody else. And that's life in general, not just shooting. But in shooting, it's helped a lot, because now there's no excuse, man. Like, I had a couple of mics at the Florida Open, and I yelled at myself. Like, one of them, I cussed out loud at myself, and I was like, no effing way. And the ROs, and everyone looked at me like I was mad at the RO. And then afterwards, one of the guys came over to talk to me, and I was like, no, I'm pissed at myself. Like, how? That was an easy ass target. Like, so it's like, I'm trying to rewind in my mind what my visual was, right? Like, I didn't care that I had the mic. I was more pissed that I didn't know how I had the mic. And, you know, guys on my squad were like, it's no big deal, man. You're crushing it. I said, no, it's a big effing deal, because it goes from stage to stage to stage, and I can repeat that mistake, right? And I don't care that I had the mic. Again, it was more of, how did I get the mic? So that was something I changed, man, after Nationals. Was I started paying a lot more attention to the visual shooting, because for a long time, or actually not for a long time, but right before Nationals, I was really getting my ass kicked on steel. Like, I'd have a practice with steel and I would do awesome. Like, just all steel at 20-yard small poppers, moving and shooting on 20-yard poppers that I would never shoot on a match, right? But if I had to, I would. Like, if I really need that for a win, I'm willing to get 24th if I have a chance to win the match, and it takes me to take that shot, right? That's how much I don't give a shit about second. I don't give a shit about second. I want the win. So I'm practicing, and I'm crushing it at practice, and then I get into a match, and I'm missing steel like easy shit. I'm like, what in the shit am I doing? And I realized I started shooting instinctually instead of visually, because I could get away with the instinctual shooting at my skill set, at the shooting that, you know, the way I shoot. And then I was like, okay, I've got to dedicate some time to thinking like that. And it's helped a lot. It's helped a lot. It's changed the way I shoot. This is the cleanest match I've ever shot at that Florida Open. It was the clean. I mean, obviously I had two mics, but it was the last two stages of the day, or almost the last two stages of the day. So I don't know whether I was just getting tired, or just, you know, again, easy targets, man. Everyone complained about how that match isn't going to be the same because it doesn't have a bunch of no shoots and swingers and all this other shit. I'm like, did you shoot a clean match? Because if you didn't, can't be that damn easy. Did you shoot all alphas and be the fastest guy out there? Must not be that easy, you know? So, I mean, people are going to bitch, but that was a really good match, man. My buddy Steve Zug, who was range master in that, they did a really good job on that match. It was a completely different flavor than before. I mean, before it was very technical. This match had some technical things, but it was only distance, right? Like all wide open targets, but you could jack up some distance because they look close. I mean, everything looked close. It was wide open targets,
wide
but
open
they were
20 yards in some weird lanes.
You got it.
Yeah,
you got it. Yeah, I mean,
get your ass every time.
They had a couple stages with ports that you know, for a taller guy, I had to get down in there and actually like kind of get to them. So there was one stage where we were standing on a shaker table, and they were through, like when you stood up, the port was at the bottom of my chest. I had to duck down and shoot through that on a shaker table. And that's where one of my mics came from, on one of the closest open targets. So I don't know. I think the dot was on there, but when I finally pulled the trigger, I wiggled, and that was all it took, man, to get a mic on the stage.
Yep. What did you do? What did you change in your practice to start focusing on visual shooting?
So I stopped. I stayed on the target longer, right? I started staying on the target longer. And the reason I say it was instinctual is because I caught myself literally sweeping steel. Like I would shoot the target in paper like I'm supposed to, and then I would come down and I would just predict when I'm supposed to pull the trigger. And you wouldn't believe how good I am at that. The problem is when you F it up, it jacks you up. I mean, it's multiple makeup shots because you technically didn't have sights on. I wouldn't stop, right? I would just go bang, and I was like, hell yeah.
The red kind of flashed by, and you went whooping and kept going.
Right. Yeah, you're like, it's now, and yank that bad boy, and you hit it, and you're like, everyone was like, man, how do you do that? And I go, you don't want to know. It's not a good thing. So I changed that. That was the number one thing. I learned to stop on the steel. Like, let me rephrase that. I retrained myself to stop on the steel again, because I'd never done that before. It was something that I was doing because I was getting away with it, right? I was getting away with it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Something you just start to do that you perceive as just something in your shooting like that you can just get away with can turn into a bad habit really, really fast.
Yeah.
Like I found out real quick with these open guns, like 15-yard partial targets, if I'm trying to blaze through there shooting it, like I don't really need to know where that second shot was going. I could just aim, slap the trigger twice, and get the fuck out of there. But it's not something you should be doing, right? You should know where that second shot went. And I got sucked into that when I first started shooting open. And I go to major matches where I got some heat put on me, and now I'm dropping, you know, shots in the top of the no shoot. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Well, that's just because I'm gone, you know. But
so I mean, that's the problem, dude. And actually, I literally just made a video for my Insider Circle about mindset. I do a Mindset Monday almost every Monday, but sometimes I'll dump like 3 or 4 of them. It just depends on how the schedule goes. But I just did one about sights. I have a couple of students that are switching divisions this year, and they're not using their sights like at all. And I'm like, dude, you're hooking up. Like you're getting, 4 out of the 6 stage wins at your match. But then I'm seeing 4 mics, 4 no shoots, or 6 mics and 6 no shoots. And I'm like, listen, don't slow down, right? That word slow is like dirty to me. I don't like it. I don't teach people that. I have new students that come to me and I teach them how to go fast and get them comfortable, right? You can't slow down or you're done. Like, I don't give a shit what division you shoot. You slow down, you lose. And what I mean by that is you're going to lose against the better shooters, right? You're not, and I don't mean just GMs. When I was a C class, I shot like an A class speed. Now, I didn't hit shit, but I was definitely A class speed. So when I learned that don't slow down, the shooting will slow down, like it'll get slow. I was like, all right, just keep going. Just stay on the course, keep hauling ass. And that was the biggest thing for me. It was like seeing those sights. And once I realized that the sights were king, then I was like, ooh, I can go this fast and hit shit, right? But it felt really slow. And then I'm looking at my times and I'm like, wow, I was 0.13 slower, but got all great hits. Okay, this is the answer. Like using your sights. And I would say the number one thing with sights that most people don't pay attention to is when the sights hit, you need to be ready. I see a lot of, especially no shoots. I see a lot of bang, waiting for that perfect sight picture. There is no such thing as a perfect sight picture at speed. There isn't, right? Sometimes, I shouldn't say that. Yes. 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 You want that. I'm a big dot guy. I talk a lot about the dot. I mean, obviously I can shoot irons if I practiced, but I'm a big dot guy. So for me, the red dot, when it hits, like as soon as it lands in the A, I'm pulling the trigger. I'm not waiting for it to land and then come back up or stay up and wait. I don't care about the perfect red dot stop. I want red dot flashing. And I think I learned that the most in carry optics, because when I left PCC, the very first gun I picked up was carry optics. And I remember picking that up and just listening to my shooting. And I was like, who is that? Like, that sounds like shit. I need to get going. And then I realized that I was looking for that perfect sight picture, and that you would get a lot in PCC. Yeah. Right? In PCC, you would get a lot of frozen dot, like, ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. And then I was like, okay, you don't get that in carry optics. You don't get that in open. So anybody who has not shot an open gun, it recoils. And anybody who tells you it doesn't is lying to you.
It's violent. It's very violent.
It's a very violent end in your mind, because everyone tells you, dude, if you buy an open gun, you can shoot it way faster. You don't wait for the dot to come down. You just start ripping two into the paper, and the dot's still facing up like this. Don't ask me how I know that, guys. Don't ask me how I know that. The first month, I was like, fuck this. I'm going back to carry optics.
Yep.
So I was like, I hate this shit. And there was a big switch over for me with open, man. It's the grip was different. The sight picture was different. The amount of recoil was way different, but I didn't think it would be. Because I always thought I had a great grip on the carry optics gun. And I do. The Canic, I still love that gun. Honestly, man, I would go back to that at any moment. Love that gun. It just fits me very well. I can grip it well. But when I switched to open, I struggled a lot with the grip because of how thick it was. It was a completely different grip. I had a thumb rest. Dude, I don't know how you guys use those thumb rests. I really don't. At Nationals, I borrowed a buddy's gun that had a thumb rest. I drove that bitch into 3 no-shoots, like just edged it, because I would go bang and then just that little edge into those no-shoots. Honestly, it cost me a higher position because of that dipping the gun, right? But I mean, it was a buddy's gun. I couldn't tear it apart. I just shot what I had. I mean, I had 400 rounds of it before Nationals. So 400 rounds in top 25. I'm not completely upset, but you know how it goes, man. If I gave you a revolver right now, you'd be pissed if you didn't win carry optics open gun, right? With a revolver. It's just that competitive nature that we carry.
I'll be honest, if I got second place at Open Nats, I'd be fucking furious. Just
and
how
I think
I'm built.
That's what makes you good. But I think that's what makes us who we are, right? I mean, look at Max Michel. I know that guy was pissed off at Carry Optics Nationals, and him and JJ are friends, right? Mm-hmm. But you could hear it in the tone of his post. And then, did you happen to catch his Florida Open post?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did you read that part where he said JJ won Nationals, but I was able to get this one or whatever? Like, I know they're friends, but they don't. It's competitive, dude. That's what it's all about. And I love how people don't understand that. Like, some people, not Max, because he's been who he is forever. He's a great guy or whatever, great representative of the sport. But if somebody was to put, like, okay, great example is if you or I were to post that, oh, he's talking shit about JJ. He wants to, and I'm like, no, dude, you want to win against them. And if they beat you, you're going to come back and go, got you. Dude, the first time you beat Panda this year, you're going to be talking some mad shit, and you should be.
I've already got I've got like 50 memes on deck. You don't even know. I've got a folder in my phone labeled "Fuck Panda."
I was just gonna say,
a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? Like, I love the guy, but
I was just gonna say that. I bet your phone is damn near filled up with space. You gotta I gotta move some shit off here, honey. Our pictures together, I'm taking them off. I got Panda memes. I got to say,
those are going to the cloud.
That's awesome. But dude, I don't like. It's crazy.
It's a killer mindset, and it separates the difference between greatness and legendary, right? There's been great athletes who are just really, really good at what they do, but they never achieve legendary status because they don't have that killer instinct, right? Like, let's think of a fighter, right? Like, say Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather is, with all respects, a pretty like nice guy, I guess. Like, it seems like he's got a really calm demeanor. You see him, he's just chilling, right? I'm sure his buddies he's friends with some of the other fighters, but I bet if you put him in the ring with his best friend, even if there's no money on the line, no title or nothing, you put him in the ring with his best friend, he's gonna fuck that guy up.
Yeah, dude, nobody's losing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to lose.
No.
So
not at all. Not at all.
It's funny that you said that about, the competitive nature, because I never saw this before until I got to Grandmaster. And then I started winning matches at Grandmaster, or even just being in the top 25. There's another level on every division that we shoot, right? Like, there's a different level of master. There's a different level of C, B, D. I don't know if there's a different level other than you didn't shoot yourself and then the other guy did, right? Like, it's hard for those guys because they're just getting started. But when you get to that top level of any of those divisions, there is that level and then that next level, right? So, like, if you're really looking at those guys that are at the top, there's something that they do that's different than all the rest. Some of it's dedication, some of it's health. There's a mental aspect that those guys have that a lot of other people don't. It's any awesome athlete, any big time athlete is going to have that. I'm going to jack you up. Like, I don't give a shit if you're my best friend. I'm coming out here to crush you. And I might beat you by 10 points, but that's not good enough, right? I want a hundo. I want a hundo on your ass. You know what I mean? Like, that's just that mentality. I mean, I had a pretty good win at the Florida Open, and all I remembered, other than I think I allowed myself an hour of enjoyment that I won that match. An hour. Literally, I swear to God, 1 hour. I was like, holy shit, dude, I just won. Like, I won this match. Like, and it wasn't out of surprise. It was just out of, like, people were like, damn, dude, you did it. And I'm like, motherfuckers, I know I can do this shit. You guys don't think I can, but I'm putting in the work that nobody sees, right? I don't post a lot of my practice sessions. The Insider Circle guys, the group that I have, they see all that stuff. I post a lot of my practice videos. I do a lot of that stuff, but it's like, I put in the work, right? I mean, I truly put in the work. Now, I don't practice as much as I used to. Obviously, primers suck, but I'm trying to make it up in other areas. Like, so when I make videos now for the Insider Circle, I do entry videos. I do all kinds of different shooting videos, drills, things like that. I use those as my practice. And the thing that's changed is, instead of shooting 1,000 rounds every time I go out, I learn from the drills that I'm teaching. Does that make sense? Like, instead, like, now I'm like, oh shit, if I would have just placed my foot here and turned just half a step sooner, I shave off half a second. And the other thing is people don't realize, the better you get, the less you have to get better. Mm-hmm. Right? So now, at the level I'm getting to, I'm like, all right, cool. That was 0.20 faster. People look at you like 0.20, that's nothing. I'm like, dude, I don't have 3 seconds that I can eliminate from this stage, and neither do any of the other guys I'm shooting against, right? Like, I'm maxing out as much as I possibly can, and I think that's where the mindset change has to happen in different levels, right? Like, you think JJ and Max are going to practice right now and going, man, I can gain 2 seconds on this? Hell no. They're like, all right, I need 0.10. Is it the draw? Maybe it's where I hold my hand. Those are the things that they're looking at. They're not looking at the major things, right? Because there's no major things
anymore.
Right. There's no major things that they're
the major things are over. Once you get to, honestly, I think once you get to top, say top 50 at nationals, right? You're done with major improvements. It's
right.
All minor adjustments. There's no 3 second fix. There's no 1 second fix, right? There's tenths here, tenths there, tenths here, tenths there. And Dude, you know that just as well as I do, and probably a lot of other people. It's we're playing a game of tenths, playing a game of milliseconds, really, when you look at some of the stages. Like a tenth of a second could be a couple points that cost you the entire match. And a tenth of a second over the course of 10 arrays, that's the match right there. You know what I mean? Right. One stage, if you're losing a tenth of a second in every position, and there were 4 positions, or say 5 positions in that one stage,
a minute.
that's a half a second. Now over the course of 10 stages, that's 5 whole seconds. What are you gonna do with 5 whole seconds? That's where you get your 3-second get up. It's finding that tenth.
So where I've noticed that from where I watch shooters shoot a lot is they try to make it up with the gun. And I've realized that and this is one of the reasons I brought the video up about the sights from earlier today is, dude, the shooting is the slowest part. I discovered that the shooting is the slowest part of what we do. The problem is people shoot with their ears. They listen to JJ or Christian or hopefully me in that group, and they're listening to the gun go, pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, but did you hear the pop, 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 pop? It's different for each target. These guys take the entire stage and they just go, got it. No, you didn't. Or no, you didn't. Right. And it's that I've noticed that's one of the biggest things that I've changed in my coaching is now it's shoot sooner, not faster. Right. I've really changed the way I shoot, man. I mean, and I've said this before on my podcast, the JJ class was the best investment I ever made for me as a shooter. And the reason why is because I only changed maybe 2 or 3 things out of all the stuff that I knew. I mean, I don't know how many times I was hitting my buddy like, dude, I say that shit. Dude, I say that shit. Dude, I say that shit. And I was like, okay, I'm on the right track. Like I've got this figured out. And then there was just a couple things that he said. I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. But I was already doing it. I just didn't know what the definition was or why I was doing it. I just knew this is the right way. And it was like, it's crazy when you're talking to somebody with 25 years experience and it was like, oh, dude, he just knows how to tell it. So that was the thing with the JJ class. I went to that class to become a better teacher. I didn't think I was going to learn much as a shooter. Well, let me rephrase that. I went in with an open mind no matter what, but my ultimate goal was to get 25 years of experience as a coach, right? Because I pride myself on being a good coach. It's the most important thing that I do in this sport. If I never win a national championship, but if I can make one, holy shit, Bo, boom, like, man, I just made that guy or I helped that guy get there, right? So that's kind of like one of the reasons I love coaching, because it's like, dude, that guy, it's like I do construction for a living. It's like when I put a kitchen in, I'm like, shit, yeah, I put that in. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, you see it finished and you're like, I did that shit.
That's it. And again, it's you don't really get credit as a coach because they still have to put the work in, right? Like they have to put the work in. So I remember being at JJ's class and there was a couple things. And the one thing that I remember the most was the movement part. And again, I was already doing a lot of this stuff, but it was my footwork as I would enter specific positions. And I was like, you got to stay square to a target. Okay. But I wasn't staying square with my feet. I was staying square with my upper body, but I was all tweaked out on the bottom and going the wrong direction. And I remember struggling so much on that drill because I was thinking about it. And he's like, gun up. I'll give that one because I try not to share too much of what he did because I don't want to give away too much of the stuff. But his definition of gun up was completely different of my definition. So when I got that, I was like, bro, that is a game changer. So his definition of gun up was seeing the sights. And I was like, son of a bitch. Right. So my definition was right here, bro. I got both hands on the gun. I'm ready to drive it out. And I would drive the gun out as I was entering. Well, guess what that means? Dot's going like this, bro. It's going everywhere. So when I started changing that mindset, everything slowed down because now my entries weren't 150 miles an hour, right? They were 75 miles an hour and it felt horrible. I was like, JJ, this sucks, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, this feels like shit. And then I realized like, I can shoot sooner. It didn't matter how fast I got there. It mattered that I could shoot sooner. So again, going in there with an open mind, I guarantee you there were people at that class that absolutely hated me there, because if JJ said anybody want to volunteer, I was the guy that was volunteering. And everyone was like, bro, like, you're good. I was like, yeah, but I want him to tell me I suck. Like, that's why you take a class. You don't take a class to do good. You take a class to suck and have that guy fix you. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I took two JJ classes back to back. So
would you do that again?
100%.
So why back to back?
So I took a JJ class in Midland, where I was living at the time, on a Wednesday, Thursday. We drove to Houston for a match, which is where my in-laws are.
Right.
Shot the match, and then after the match, he taught a Monday, Tuesday class. Well, I took off work, and he invited me. He was like, "Hey, take this class too, because I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you as an example the whole time. I don't want you to do any. I don't want you to, like, you just show up and just do what I tell you." I was like, "Cool, not a problem." Took the class in Midland as just like a stand back and watch everything and listen. And I'm huge on like taking notes. Like my phone, I have all the notes, and I go back and reference them like you wouldn't even believe. And then I went and took the class, demoing everything for him and doing that and like shooting stages and holy shit, dude. The first class, I was like, it was keeping me up at night. Like I'd be laying down trying to sleep, and then bam, something would hit me in my brain, and I'd be like, I got to go write that down. I got to go dry fire that. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife's like, fucking go to bed, dude. What are you doing? I'm like, no.
They don't understand, dude.
I was like, I'm leaving for the match tomorrow, and I can't forget this. This is going to help me. Yeah. And then I shoot the match, and what's funny is I shoot the match, and JJ goes, okay, we walked the stages before together. And then he shot the match on a different squad, and after him reviewing the stages further, changed his plans, right? I shot the old plans. He shot the new plans. Huge difference, right? Huge difference. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? What changed? And then we did that class, and he goes, oh, I changed these small, minute things in the stage. He's like, now shoot it this way. I shot it that way and was just devastated with the amount of time that I was losing in just some small, minute changes in the stage, where I was like, you motherfucker, you couldn't have told me that yesterday. You know what I mean?
Hey, so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's part of the competitive nature of guys, right? Like, and I listen, I'm still kind of new to this sport, but the whole giving your stage plan away to someone because they ask you is always been weird to me. I do it to be respectful, but because I don't want to be a dick, but I don't understand the part where they're like, well, you're being a dick for not sharing your stage plan. I'm like, no, am I really? Like, we're supposed to be competing here. I mean, we can be boys and hang out. We're friends and we walk the stages together, but like, it's like coming up to Christian Seiler, who kicks everyone's ass and going, hey bro, here's the stage plan to win this. That's smart, right? Like, I mean, not that he wouldn't see it already. That's not what I'm saying, but it's like, I see this all the time, and I'm like, dude, they can't be giving each other the stage. And I do understand the one thing about this sport is no matter what, you still have to outshoot me. No matter if I could give you the best stage plan in the world, but you still have to execute it, right? So that's the one area where I'm kind of like, all right, well, you know what? Beat me with my own stage plan, right? That's kind of the attitude I take with it, but it's still kind of weird to me that we literally help our opponents beat us sometimes. It's just kind of friggin' weird.
Not me.
So let me ask you a question, dude, because I'm glad you brought up stage planning, because
I don't share shit.
Yeah, I talk about stage planning a lot in a lot of my videos, a lot of my stuff that I post on Instagram, Facebook, in my insider circle. I talk a lot about stage planning. How serious do you take stage planning when you walk?
Extremely.
And what is your system, if you can tell me? Because I'll tell you mine, but what is your system? All right.
I'll tell you mine. I have steps that I take. I do everything in stages, right? I walk a stage in stages. One, I identify all the targets clearly. Two, identify the best way to engage each array, right? then decide importance on where I can move and shoot, where I need to stay stationary and shoot. Then I work on my footwork. I work on nothing but where my feet need to be from the second I leave that starting line to the second I finish the match, to the second I finish the stage. From start to finish, I want to know where each foot is going the whole time. Then I go, let's blend it all together. I take how I'm looking at the array, how I'm entering and exiting, what I'm supposed to be seeing, how soon I'm going to get the gun up, what order I'm going to shoot everything in, what I need to worry about if I'm going if there's elevation change, how I'm going to attack the elevation change with my hips, my knees, my core, how to move through each array, how to move through the stage. And if I don't hit every single action perfectly 5 times out of 5, then I keep walking until I'm out of time.
You complicate the shit out of this, bro. Everybody has a system, right? All right. So mine is way easy. I read where we start, so on and so forth. I go right to left first. I check both ways, right? And then I'm looking for the targets, right? One thing you didn't say, which I do, I always go to the back of the stage. Always. I walk all the way to behind the stage where I can see all the targets for any kind of hidden shit that I might not see. Even if I know where they all are, I still look, right?
That's part of identifying the targets for me. Yeah.
Then I cut steel, especially for everybody who's listening, steel especially, because sometimes they don't put those sticks, whether it's a forward falling piece of steel and you don't see that stick, you're screwed because you'll drive that son of a bitch down. Well, guess what? You're driving it up, not down at all. So that's one of the reasons that was one of the targets that would always teach me to walk back and look and make sure that they are going back or whatever it is that I'm doing. I walk the stage from left to right. And the first thing I want, okay, and I explain this a lot in my stuff that I talk about all the time, the most important target to me is the last target. I don't give a shit about all the different arrays because the way I walk stages, the way I shoot stages, it's all one array. They're not multiple arrays. There's not an array over here, an array over here, an array over here. All that is how do I make the stage one array? I want a constantly flowing stage. So when you walk a stage the way you do, now this isn't against you, this is just the way I used to walk stages like that because I learned it in production, right? And when I stopped shooting production, and as much as everybody hates PCC, it taught me how to just move my ass and shoot constantly. So then when I went to a 24-round gun with the carry optics, I was like, cool, I have one spot I can't pull the trigger, right? Where's the longest distance that I need to reload at? That's what I'm looking for. So when I'm walking the stage, I'm trying to figure out how to turn that into one array, one giant array. After I find it, after I've like, all right, cool, I'm going to walk right and find it, and then I'm going to walk it left the same exact way. I'm going to figure out where I need to do a reload. Then I'm blending positions, right? So obviously during that, I found that the way it flows, where I can feel like I'm constantly moving is what I'm looking for. Then I figure out how to tie it together footwork wise, right? And you don't need to know where every foot is. This is for me, my opinion. Not you. Again, if it works for you, bro, I am not the guy who's like, it's the way. It's a way, right? My way works for me. Your way works for you. But little things that I've learned to get me to where it's changed the level of shooting that I'm at. Stage planning has done that. I have always enjoyed it. I've always looked for that micrometer, microsecond that no one else saw, right? So what I'm trying to do is I need a section of footwork to blend this position and this position together. And then from there, how do I blend that next position? So I really only have basically 2 spots that I'm really thinking about footwork, right? The rest of it you know how to do. I mean, shit, dude, you're walking forward. You're either walking forward, walking backwards, or stopping. Those are the 3 positions we have in this sport. So then after I blend that all together,
max, then you're shuffling everywhere.
Right. But again, he still blends. It just doesn't look like the way we shoot.
Like he's shooting
right.
How we shoot.
Yeah, I mean,
he's blending everything.
He's shooting. Yeah, he's fucking shooting, all right. But you blend those positions together, and then I walk away. All right. The reason I do that is because after I have my stage plan, bro, I go to the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, same process. Then I come back for a second walkthrough. you would not believe that's where the details are found. It's just like walking in and having a conversation with somebody that you're going to have an argument with. And then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm just going to take a step back, let them talk, and then I'll come with a fresh perspective, right? It's no different than having a consultant come into your business and go, hey, listen, what do you see? Right? What do you see? Because obviously I've got my blinders on.
Yep.
Left to right is the way to go. Left to right is always better. Not if you go this way. It's not, right? The flow is better to the right. So it's one of those things where when I walk stages, man, I want to have an open mind. If I see a C-class shooter walking the stage, I put my radio on. I don't want to hear a shitting thing they say. But you know what I do? I watch them. Because there might be something that they saw that I didn't see. I don't want to hear the dialogue. No, because their thought process isn't the same as totally what I think, right? But if they go to a spot, I'm like, ooh, I didn't see that 2 inches over, right? I mean, I put out a video not too long ago. I think I actually posted that one on YouTube, where one of my buddies I've been training him for almost 3 years now, which if he ever comes and shoots, he would be a great shooter. But he made master in no time. Well, he did something on a stage that I built. I was so blinded by the way I built the stage that I didn't see that. And I'm like, dude, I built this. I should know every inch. Well, because I built it, I put the blinders on, bro, and I never walked that stage. And all he did was stop 2 feet before I did. And it changed the whole front array. Completely changed it. So, when you see things like that, it really opens your eyes to, oh, shit. Like, good example, JJ. You guys had an original stage plan. When did he go and change that? The second time he walked it. Not the first time. The first time he had his blinders on, and that's why the second opportunity, it opened up what you could see. So the only bad thing about my system, bro, is that you're there all day. Walking nationals is a nightmare. Like it's a match in itself, because you walk the stage and then you go to the next section and the next section and you walk all 3 of those zones and then you go back and start all over again. I would say the other thing that sucks is I love the people that I meet in this sport. So I have met so many people, and I'll stop and talk to everybody, or they stop and talk to me, and I'm like, shit, like, I don't know how many of my boys are like, dude, you fucking know everybody. I said, that's the whole point. This is fun, man. Like, this is part of it.
Chase fucking left me at nationals. He's like, I'm done waiting. I'm going to eat. He just dipped. I was like, bitch, I need to eat lunch too. He's like, when I get back, you can go eat lunch. I'm done waiting.
Maybe you should have borrowed a golf cart on that one.
I should have.
We know your history at nationals with golf carts. Maybe you should just stay away from one of those, dude.
Hey, bro, I had my own. They gave me my own golf cart at nationals.
Look at you have a reputation.
Yeah, at nationals, they were like, here's a golf cart, baby. You take that. I was like, hell yeah. What's
That's
up,
hilarious,
Joseph? So Joseph, he's one of the Ely guys. It's his birthday today. What's up, dog?
Oh, nice. Happy birthday, man.
But yeah, dude, it's pretty funny. I do the same thing. Nationals was, I met so many people. It was kind of like, what the fuck? And then walking all the stages while talking to somebody at every single stage, you're just like, by the end of it, you're like, oh fuck! All right, I didn't.
Did you wear headphones? Do you put a radio on?
Yes, I put my my Bose little fucking AirPod.
So when you're walking stages, you rock those?
Yeah, they cancel. They're noise canceling.
So man, I gotta tell you, you gotta tell people to, hey man, when I'm done with the stage, we'll shoot the shit. I mean, that could be something there's that micrometer of improvement. Right? Like that you could find. I've had to. I put the big ones on, right? Like I put the noise canceling Bose, and it's funny because in my area, when they go on, everyone's like, don't fucking talk to Tom. Like he's getting in the zone before the stage. And I mean, at local matches, I don't care. But I put them bitches on and I'm like, okay, like I'm focusing, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but again, it's like, I want to talk to you. Like I don't ever want to be that dick who's like, hey man, whatever. But just like, let me focus here and then I'll come right back and answer a question or whatever. Cause I got to tell you, man, it's definitely not about the money with the coaching. I have guys that I shoot with on a regular basis that I coach all the time and don't get paid a dime, right?
Yeah.
Now, they don't get the extra part of the coaching and stuff that I do, like for the insider circle and shit. But it's like, if somebody asks me a question, I remember when I started this sport and how bad it was for help. There's something about,
oh my God. Yeah,
there's just something about, it's not even competitive, bro. I don't even think it has anything to do with competition. I think it's just this herd mentality that we kind of have as shooters. We're like, well, this is our group and that's that group. That's the old guys over there that are all dying and shoot steel challenge. And it's like, man, we're all one group. We just forget that, you know.
Yep.
We just kind of forget it, man. It's different. It's a great sport. I mean, I love this shit. Like, I think about this all the time. I mean, it's all I think about. I probably should do more thinking about my work than this, but yeah, you're like, no, I don't do that either.
You don't need to do that. I don't do that either. I get busted sometimes. Like, I have like gaps in my work day where like I'll just like sit down, crank everything out, and then I have nothing to do for like 45 minutes to an hour, right? Like, I'm done with everything. There's nothing else going on. I'm like, fuck it. I'll throw up match videos or start looking at shit. And somebody will walk in and be like, what the fuck are you doing? I just hear sounds like a bunch of shooting. What are you doing in your office? And I'm just like, nothing.
Well, you live in Texas, bro. It's acceptable. It's all good, right? Like,
oh, it's 100% acceptable. But there'll be like, so my office is, I have an office in each of the stores, right? So when I go into the offices, it's in the back. And there'll be like customers out front. You'll hear bah, 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 coming out of the back room, and I'm like, shit. So I started bringing headphones to work and pop those bitches in, lock the door, leave me alone. Having my special time.
So, damn it, Chuck 91 just asked. No, this is not my full-time job. I would love to do this as my full-time job. I'm pushing pretty hard for it right now. Obviously, if you follow my Instagram, you'll notice that I'm retarded and post all day, all the time. Like today, I don't know what it was about today, but maybe it was just watching your workout video. But I had like, okay, I'm gonna post up some motivational shit. Like, I don't know, man. To me, there's every once in a while, there's just that I need that kick in that ass. You know, I need a kick in the ass to get out there and do what I do. And you know, again, man, I'm busy. Like today, I was telling you, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And I thought we were an hour earlier than we actually were. And I'm like, all right, I got to be home. We got to rush dinner. I got to be home. You know, I was like, I'm not going to be late. And it's just, you know, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit. Dude, I have 3 kids and a wife. They're in sports. I have a 14, 11, and a 9-year-old, and they're all starting to get in sports. And it's like trying to manage my family life with the shooting life is not easy. It's not easy at all. So plus the insider circle, dude, I mean, I have quite a few members in there, and I spend a lot of time making videos. It's not just go shoot videos and send it. I have to edit all of it. I do graphics. I have master members that do where I do a monthly video. There's a lot of work in that, and because I don't just slap a video and go, hey man, I'm gonna talk over it. I do graphic. I put arrows on stuff. I have to circle things. My big thing is you're gonna get what I would want, right? I would get what I want when you're my customer. It's changed though. It's really starting to grow even more than I ever thought it would. So it's changed a lot, dude. I'll tell you, winning helps for sure. Cause I remember winning Area 6 and people were like, who's this guy? I'm like, bro, I've been doing this shit for 2 years and winning, but I was shooting a PCC. And then I switched over to carry optics and had a breakthrough. Like, I really had some big breakthroughs when I switched over to carry optics. And then I switched over to open this year and won again. And I'll tell you, man, it's a weird feeling because I've never been on Instagram or Facebook until I started shooting. And I had probably 60 or 70 messages after I won. And I was like, I didn't even know that many people knew me, right? Like, or even gave a shit enough to say, hey man, great job. And, you know, that's crazy, dude. That's insane to me. You know, like I still, people come up and talk to me and I'm like, hi, like, how do you know me? You know, like, it's weird, right? I can't imagine being JJ or Max, like, or Christian at this point. it's those guys probably get it all the time. You know, always take it. That's the one thing about JJ, dude. I don't know. I know Christian just a little bit, but JJ will always take a picture. I almost think he likes it because he's always
He does.
he's cheesing it up, bro.
Hold on, the sidearm profile.
Dude, I know one thing. He always tries to be real tall. He tries to get tall. He's always trying to get tall in his pictures when he's around people.
Yeah.
Is he considered a tall Filipino?
Yeah, I guess he is. Yeah,
he's like a 7-footer for them.
There's some tall Filipinos, dude. Like that kid Bro Texon, when I saw him in person, I was like, what the fuck? They make you guys this size? I didn't know y'all came in this model. Look at this fucking thing. I was looking up at him like, what in the hell?
Yeah, that's hilarious. Dude, there was a guy at the Florida Open. I swear to God, he was 6'5". Easily. He's big guy. I think his name was Jim or Jeff. I think it would start with a J. Big ass guy. And I was like, he was talking to the range master when I was sitting down having lunch. And I was like, dude, could you sit down? Like, you're fucking hurting my neck. And that match was not a tall person friendly match at all. There was some pretty low ports and shit in there that I was like, ooh, I'm glad I'm not that tall.
I'm so jealous. I missed that match. I really wanted to shoot that match.
It was different this year. I'll tell you, man. It was challenging in a different way. It didn't have a lot of gimmicks. And I don't want to say Shannon put gimmicks up because it wasn't. Shannon put up really challenging stuff, but he definitely challenged the technical side a lot more than this match did. But I think this next year, hopefully, I don't even care if it's 32 rounds of paper with no shoots. It's its own flavor of shooting, right? I mean. The only thing I would say that I kind of missed was steel. And that had a lot to do with because I've been practicing steel a lot and I figured out how to fix my steel issues, but I haven't had a chance to really do it at a match, like a major match.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, I need this. Like, I need some steel, dude, because I can't have any holes in my game before I get to nets. You know?
That match was Panda's dream. He hates steel with a passion.
I heard JJ might not like steel either.
Ooh, just the small ones. Just the small ones. JJ likes them big.
Yeah, well, he center punched it and you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because that was the big one that got him, so it sucked.
Yeah.
But what's your so I wanted to ask you because we never really get a chance to talk like this. So what's your training like? Do you practice a certain amount of times a week, certain times a month? Dry fire? What do you do there for that, for you personally?
So it took a huge, before I answer that, go fast, don't suck. I am beat off material. You can blow me like a cup of hot soup. But
my professional image just went out the window after that.
It changed drastically after nationals. So I used to spend an absorbent amount of time live firing and what I thought was a good amount of time dry firing. And I just flip-flopped those substantially for two reasons.
Dry fire now?
A lot more. Speak of the champion, he appears. What's up, dude? Christian's here. So a lot more dry fire, like a substantial amount of dry fire. And then live fire to verify my dry fire. So maybe I used to go 5 times a week to the range in live fire. I used to shoot a shit ton. I think I was shooting like anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 rounds a month.
So what did you do when you went to those live fire sessions? Like, did you have something specific you were working on? Did you just have kind of an overall, I'm going to practice this or practice everything? Or what would you say that, the difference in your training now compared to that?
I would show up and I'd say, okay, today I'm working on X. And I would do X amount of drills working on that.
Did you have, listen to this. What is it?
Working out at the prison gym, boxing a bit, listening to Chris Workman's podcast now, tuning in for a bit. What's up, dude? You're in prison? Nice. What'd you do? No.
So the dry fire switch to live fire. What are your rounds now? What do you think you're putting out?
2K maybe a month.
A month?
Yeah, 2K maybe. It's very. I will practice things very, very heavily in dry fire, and then push. And then when I go live fire, I will do something very different than I guess some people would do. I would verify that I'm getting it, right? That I'm getting the action, that I'm feeling what I was feeling in dry fire. And then I will push the speed to the absolute fucking rev limiter. And if the wheels fall off, they fall off. Keep pushing, and just trying to find that next gear.
How long? What's your split for like how long after you dry fire? So what do you think? You dry fire for? So you go every week after you dry fire, or like you shoot every single week?
Multiple times a week.
So you only go maybe a couple of days before you dry fire. You dry fire, and then a couple of days you go to then after that you go to the range.
Yep. Yeah. I'll dry fire for 2 to 3 days and then hit the range.
Yeah.
Dry fire for 2 days, hit the range.
Do you have a range where you can draw and move and shoot and all that stuff like USPSA style?
I've got a 250-acre facility 5 minutes from my house that I can lock the fucking gate and kick everybody out and do what I want on 12 different bays.
That's cool. All right, nice. Yeah, I think
very, very nice.
I've learned this year I'm going to jump a lot more into the dry fire videos because I'm learning that you and I are rare. Most guys don't have access to what we have. Now, I've gained access through my labor, right? Like I didn't have the property to shut anything down or whatever. I have to use someone else's range, but I am.
Oh, I don't.
I have learned that out of my sweat and tears, I will get. You can gain access, right? Running matches, making sure the range makes money, sending people to the range for everything you can possibly send them to, send them there for. So that's the way I've learned to be able to gain access until I gain property or whatever it is. But the reason I asked that is because, and this isn't so much for you, but this kind of segues into a conversation that I think a lot of people should hear. Dude, training scars. I would dry fire my ass off and then not go back to the range for a month. And then I think that's where the sweeping steel came from. Because I didn't spend a lot of time on the range. I spent a lot of time dry firing, or especially when I switched over to open, dude, I had the gun in my hand constantly. Well, when I actually had to put bullets on shit, I wasn't hitting anything, right? With that steel, I was just thinking, I'm open, just whip it. So it's funny that you said that because, so what would you do before when you dry fire? Would you live fire a bunch? And then how much was your dry fire? Not much?
Well, I thought it was a lot. I would usually wake up in the morning, stretch, shower, and then do probably realistically 15 minutes of dry fire and then go to work, go from work to the range, live fire for 2 hours, and then come home, dry fire for a couple minutes, and then go to sleep, do it all over again. Now I'll probably dry fire multiple sessions because I take my guns with me to work without people knowing. And I dry fire in the morning. I dry fire throughout the day. I dry fire when I get home, just working on it. But I'm very specific with it. I pick certain stuff to work on and just hammer, and then just go verify it. After 2 days of hammering, go verify it at the range and then hammer it in dry fire or hammer it in live fire. And that could be the worst thing in the world. I don't know. This is the first time I'm trying it. I haven't even shot a match to verify it's all working. But What's up, JJ? Look, JJ got on the podcast just as a viewer, even though he won't come on as a guest. He does everybody else's podcast.
You have a bad image, bro. You're dirty. You get rid of presidents and everything else, so you're dirty, birdie.
I did nothing. I didn't do anything. I just sat back, took an ass chewing. That's it.
Yeah. You did good, by the way. I've never had a chance to tell you that. You did the right thing, just keeping out of it. Even at the end, when everything was coming at you, you did a good job, bro. That's a tough scenario to be in when you're not the power.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of shit that could go on there that could get you in trouble. So
I spent a lot of time in the corporate world, still am now. So I know how that goes.
Well, you're a no talent son of a bitch, so I don't know how you made it in the corporate world, bro. You jobless bastard.
Facts. But
that's so good.
Dude, I can't go anywhere. I can't go to one single match. I've not been to one match since then. Not even a local, bro. I can't go anywhere without somebody coming up and just either thanking me or cracking a joke.
So I mean, dude, we're a bunch of dicks in this sport. Let's be honest. Like everybody that we hang out with, they all talk shit to each other, right? And that's the best part of the sport, man. It's like I don't know how many people that this sport hasn't always been easy on me, bro. There's a lot of bullshit that happens with politics in this sport that just it gets old, like right? Like just people just hate when someone comes out of nowhere to become successful, right? Like they just for whatever reason, and I think it's just in general, people are like that, or not. I shouldn't say in general, but it happens in every sport, every profession.
Yeah.
There's always a hater out there that doesn't understand the work that it takes to get where you want to be.
So why not me's is what I call them.
Right. Yeah, dude, that's great. I don't think I've ever heard that. That's perfect. So, I mean, and there it is. Like, so you know, again, you get into an altercation with somebody, and instead of it just being like, all right, cool, like it was two guys getting in an altercation, it turns into this, I picked that guy and I picked that guy. It's like, how about just those two guys had a conversation that, you know, other people heard, right? Whether it was go F yourself or whatever it is, it turned into this big giant ass thing. And I'm like, look, I get it. You know, when you're the president of anything, you should just shut your mouth and just, but again, man, we're talking about grown adult men's. You're not supposed to just sit there and take that shit, right? You wouldn't, you didn't. Right? So again, it's over, man. I'm glad everything worked out for you, and whatever. It is what it is. But it's just like people don't seem to figure that out in their lifetime. It's like, bro, like talking shit to each other is some of the best part of being in this sport, right?
Bro, me and some of my buddies, when we were shooting on the same squad, people are like, y'all are friends? Yeah, 100%. I will eat a bullet for this guy if I had to. Yeah. But guess what? Yeah. Nobody is going to talk to the amount of shit that I'm going to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Dude, but that's the best part. That's the best part.
Oh yeah,
it is.
100%. You gotta have that release. You know what I mean? Of just being comfortable with your buddies enough to call them, you know, stupid pieces of shit, and everybody laugh about it. You know what I mean? Like. Walking a stage and somebody said like, oh dude, so when Area 3 2 years ago, it was me, Steiner, Hyder, Edens, who else? Gianni, the Williams sisters, Michael Leary. Like it was a pretty heated, it's a heater of a squad, and we're just fucking beating each other verbally, right? Anytime somebody said something on a stage play and that was not perfect, like not the exact way to do it. Oh my God, you fucking suck. Who would listen to you? Like, you're garbage. That was the worst. Who even thought of that? God, you sound like a freaking loser. Just, oh, dude. But it's, and everybody's looking at us like, what? Hey, dude, we're having fun. You know? So at the end of the day, we're all going to eat and drink beer.
I got two good stories from the Florida Open. One, Aaron Edens, I met him for the first time at the match, right?
Love that guy.
Dude. Huge fan, really like that guy. And I'll tell you a Tilly story next, right? Chris Tilly story. So I've met Tilly a couple times, but really haven't had a chance to like sit down and talk to him a whole lot. But we talked a lot at this match, but before, during, and after, right? So I meet Aaron for the first time, introduces himself, super great guy. He comes up, and this day, I think it was day, oh man, what the hell day was it? Day 1 or day 2? I think it was day 1. And we had met earlier in the day and talked shit or whatever. Met, and he comes up and he walking by, and I'm like, all the guys are laughing. I'm like, dude, you good? And he goes, yeah, man, my scope's off. I was like, what's your dope, bro? Like, you know, like he's Army, right? So everybody, and Tilly's on his squad and just breaking chops, you know, the whole time. And finally he's like, yeah, man, my screws were bad or whatever it was. So I swear it was like, I don't know, I think maybe a stage or two down, and we were all kind of walking by each other. And Tilly's like, look at this shit, dude. So he had Phillips head screws holding his sight on like they were silver. And I was like, dude, those are some sweet ass aluminum screws you got there, bro. And then he was like, yeah, I red Loctited them. I said, man, if you cross thread those bitches, you don't even need red Loctite. You're locked in for life, bro.
Bro, best Loctite cross thread, dog.
So Tilly kept coming up to him going, bro, your scope's loose. You know, and it wasn't, but he's like, is it really? Is it really? So the other one was, and I talked to Tilly about this, and I'll try to keep this so it doesn't I don't want to bang on anybody's sponsorship or whatever, but he had some issues. And I walked up to him right away. I was like, dude, this is horse shit. Like, I don't want to win if you straight up. I don't like that. And I told him before we even shot the match, I was like, dude, I'm super excited. I'm glad I didn't switch to Carry Optics. You're always in the top 10. I want to see where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, I want the heat. I almost switched over to Carry Optics because I didn't even look at the open guys. And then I was like, oh, man, I'm so glad I looked just to make sure there was some heat in there, right?
I've loaned my backup gun to somebody twice who ended up winning the match because I wanted them to fucking finish. You know what I mean?
I think that's what it's about, dude, right? Like, I think that's what it is. It's what it's supposed to be. So he had some issues, and I don't know, somebody won a gun or something, and we had talked for like a couple hours at that point after the match and kind of shot the shit, and somebody won a gun, and I was like, I know a guy who's got one for sale. I was like, it's a good parts gun. You know, I was like, oh. He was like, dude, he was like, you son of a bitch. And he was like, he just made this symbol like I was kicking him when he was down. I said, don't worry, dude. The next time you kick my ass, you can talk all the shit you want. I'm good with it. You know?
Oh, dude.
Like, it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But how many times do you get to say that to one of the best shooters in the world, right? Like, I mean, yeah. Often. So it's like, it was pretty often to talk some shit to him. And dude, great guys. Like all those guys, Aaron Eads, all those dudes are great. Like I actually learned a lot about the Army, the Army marksmanship group when I talked to Aaron. It was really neat. I mean, that's a totally different experience. Like we pay them to kick our ass, but if they don't win, they could get fired. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, the next time I see him, I got a joke for him about how I didn't mean for him to get fired. I didn't want to make him get fired because I beat him.
Savage, bro. Savage.
Yeah,
I shot
super great guy, or I wouldn't say that, right? Like, usually if I'm not talking shit, I either don't know you or you're probably not a good dude to me. You know, it's
100%. Like, I shot, I think, 3 or 4 matches last year with the whole AMU team. I love shooting with those fucking guys, dude. They're my kind of people. You know, they're kind of dudes I grew up around, just salt of the earth, shit talkers, you know, but still keep it 100. You know, they're so fun to shoot with. I shot with them and Coley. Just people I can have fun with that are monsters that, you know, you're going to be able to have a good time with. Oh shit. I guess we're shooting revolver.
I think JJ and Christian might be shooting, Area 6, I think Carry Optics. I think they're shooting Carry Optics.
Oh man. JJ, yeah. JJ shooting CO, Christian shooting CO. Fuck man. I got to bust the Canic out now.
I'll tell you right now, I'm staying with open. I don't give a shit. I need practice. Like
I'm shooting open in the hopes that I beat them because I'm still taking that W.
Yeah, sons of bitches. So, dude, it'll be interesting. This year is going to this will be an interesting year. I think you're going to see a lot of Carry Optics guys. You're going to see a lot of people shooting Carry Optics from this point on. I really do. I think it's changed a lot.
If they allowed single action and Carry Optics, I'd never shoot open again.
So, dude, you know, it's funny that you say that because I've had a couple conversations because obviously then 1911s are coming in, right? But at that point, who's going to sponsor the match, right? Like our sponsors aren't usually those guys. They're SIG and, you know, guys like Beretta stepped up for low cap. That's the thing, man. There's a lot of this stuff is where you know, when you start thinking about the financial, most average guy isn't going to go buy a 2011.
Yes.
Right. I mean, some of them you can, but some of them not.
Here's the thing, right? There's going to be 2 ways in my opinion, that the sport goes. 3 ways. Either 1, it stays on the track that it's going. Nothing changes. We stay with the same growth pattern, the same issues, right? 2, we allow single action and Carry Optics. People are allowed to shoot their 2011s without either having to shoot 40 or having to risk blowing their gun up, right? Spending all this money on extra shit. Or 3, they lower power factor. And if major stays a thing and they allow single action and Carry Optics, that's how I should phrase it. I'll never shoot open again. If they lower the power factor to shoot plus P, 150, 145 power factor, and I can shoot open without the issues that open has related to ammo, I'll stick in open. Because if I can just have plus P ammo off the shelf, which would be smart, because then it allows ammo manufacturers to get into every part of the game, right? There's only a few that sell major ammo, like very, very few.
Yeah.
And the big ones don't do it, you know? But if somebody could show up at nationals, somebody who shoots open locally, if they can show up at nationals and they can buy federal ammo to shoot open with and still shoot major power factor, wouldn't that be beneficial?
So that, to me, man, that's the one thing that I think if they changed everything is major scoring factor and not even worry about hit factor, you know, obviously keep the 125 or whatever it is, but man, the sport would speed up. Like you would see some ridiculous times. The only people who can't shoot that are Christian, Jay, anybody on the super squad, you have to shoot sub minor. Like you get sub minor, everybody else gets major scoring. Like, because I mean, not Christian and JJ and Max don't need major scoring factor, obviously, in after the open.
Yeah, exactly.
But seriously, man, like it would change the sport to be faster. Because, and the funny part is, and I learned this actually at this nationals this year. Christian doesn't shoot inaccurately. JJ, Max, they're not inaccurate, even with major scoring factor. So it doesn't matter. You have to still shoot alphas, right? It doesn't matter. Those guys aren't looking at it as, oh shit, yeah, I got major scoring factor. I'm going to shoot I'm just going to hose this. It's not how it works. The problem is as you get into this sport, you think that, right?
Yeah, you think major,
oh yeah, right.
You
I mean, you can get away with some mistakes,
but
yeah, well, you can get away with a few mistakes, right? And the higher level you go, those Charlies are considered mistakes, right? Like it's just a fact. Those guys, including me, are now looking at it like, holy shit, like Charlies are a no, you know? Yeah, look at this. JJ's totally lying. I'm not in shape right now. Bullshit.
Does that mean you can only do 150 handstand push-ups instead of 175? You fucking loser.
Yeah, totally
Get out of here, bro.
Yeah. Hey, fat ass. Look how slow you were at the open. You're horrible.
Yeah. All right, JJ went up to 6% body fat instead of 5. What a piece of garbage.
I have this question. I'm sure JJ probably won't answer this, but how the shit are you as skinny as you are and you eat 2 meals every time I see you?
No, bro. You want to hear a funny story about JJ and eating? He's sitting at the airport eating a donut right now. Bro, 2018 Nationals, the first time I met JJ, we all go out to dinner, right? We go to this Brazilian steakhouse, the all-you-can-eat, shave off the thing, right?
It's over.
Bro, we were done eating, the whole table, finished eating for 45 minutes, waiting on him to finish eating. He ate not 45 minutes slowly, 45 minutes just aggressively eating after everyone had already finished. And then finally, we're like, bro, we're trying to get the fuck out of here. He goes, oh, okay, I'll be right back. He comes back with a plate of rice, like piled, and he's like, this should help fill me up a little bit faster. Can I get some more meat? And just shovels the rice down. And he's like 160 fucking pounds. That makes 0 sense. It's bullshit.
So I will tell you, I know this for a fact. And if it's not a fact, I'm just going to start this shit as a rumor. JJ is the actual reason that they ran out of food at low cap nationals this year. Only him. That's why they ran out of food. So if it's not true, let's just keep it rolling, guys. Let's keep it.
Yeah, 100%. JJ is the reason that nationals ran out of food every time it's happened.
Because I'm more well known because of my eating than shooting. That's actually fucking true.
Yeah.
Dude, they prepare at nationals just for JJ.
They hire
all kinds of carbs and shit.
Two catering companies, one for everyone else, one for JJ.
Hey guys, that's actually somewhat true.
Dude,
they have their own buffet line just for him, dude. It's crazy.
Hey, dude, but for the amount of working out that guy does, because literally, he, like 100%, JJ, now you're here. You're probably not going to listen back before you were here because, you don't care that much about my podcast. I was saying that the reason I was like, all right, fuck it, it's time to get in the gym is because when I went to work every single morning, I saw your ass in the gym, and I was like, okay, it's time to get serious because if he's obviously doing something right, but the amount that he's eating is because that dude is working out nonstop.
So I mean, dude, guys like him, guys like Christian. I noticed Christian posts a lot. Those guys should be posted more in USPSA. So I just finished a podcast with my buddy, dude, and I've been bringing this up quite a bit, and I hope it's changing. There's two things about USPSA that I think they could change instantly. One, they need to start promoting the best shooters in our sport. I'm not best friends with JJ. I'm not best friends with Max Michel or Christian Seiler. But please, someone explain to me why the national champions of our sport are not shared on our Instagram pages. It really... So the problem is people probably think I'm talking about myself, but
mess.
Bro, the other day I saw an effing meme. I'm like, now we're doing memes? We're posting tactical shit? Like, come on, let's get the best shooters in the world on there. Like, show people what you can do. You don't even have to post the same person. There is a shit ton of great shooters in this sport. And I don't think it should be all, grandmasters at all. I think you should see it all. I think there's the way most of it's done is great, but we don't put enough of the best. The fact that Christian Seiler doesn't have a post that I can remember on USPSA, and he's the three-time national champion, and then you have JJ who comes out of nowhere and shoots unclassified and wins carry optics and doesn't have a damn bit of post on there. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, dude. It doesn't make sense.
Bro, the USPSA social media is one of the biggest problems with the sport. It is garbage. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. They don't post the best shooters. They don't nobody watches Formula One to see the fucking local dudes at the track with their fucking beater Honda Civics aspiring to be a Formula One driver, right? They watch it to see the Formula One. Look at the difference in viewership between Formula One and Formula 2, 3. It is obnoxious, right? The sport itself is 100% different just due to the backing, right? Yep. Look at golf. Go to the PGA's Instagram. Instagram and tell me they post normal people, right? They don't just post professionals, but I'd say 95% of it is what you're there to see. The best in the world doing it at the best level. Yep. Nobody gives a shit. It's going to hurt people's feelings, but nobody gives a shit about the dude shooting an 11-second stage in 51 seconds.
Right.
Nobody, right?
Yeah.
Anytime I see a post from USPSA, I just go and I scroll right past it because I just don't care. It's going to be something I don't really care about. Yeah. And it's something that there's so much they could be doing. They got this podcast now, right? Cool. Make it something worth it, right? Why haven't you had all the big dudes on it? Why don't you do live videos with some of the best shooters in the world and and have them do a dry fire session on the fucking Instagram, right? Why don't you follow them for a range day? No, I haven't.
If you listen to the podcast, it's not for promoting the sport. I shouldn't say that because I haven't listened to all of them, but when it first started, it was a CYA podcast. Like, this is what the board of directors are voting on and so on and so forth. That's what it turned into. I don't know what it is now. Honestly, I don't even get notifications for it and I'm not to the point where you are, where I'll just scroll past shit. But when it comes through and I'm just like I'm in a group chat with Brennan and a couple of guys, and like, dude, Brennan's becoming one of the best shooters in the sport, right? And I'll message those guys, and he's like, bro, I gave up. I don't even tag these guys anymore because they don't share our shit. And I'm like, he's new to the sport. Like, let me rephrase that. He started taking the sport seriously since I met him, right? Yeah. And then I was like, all right, bro, like, you're kicking ass. Like, you're really starting to show up. And I'm like, post him. You don't have to post the best in the world, but the dude placed in the top 20, and I think his first Open Nationals. Like, Michael, I don't want to mispronounce his name. Michael Wang, I think is his last name. Bro, love that dude. Post him. He's fucking amazing. He just made the Super Squad. There's the future of the sport, okay, is here. You just don't post it. You don't talk about us. You don't talk about the people that are kicking ass and working hard. And I said this in my podcast that hopefully comes out next week. I was working on it actually when I was waiting on the video here for us to talk. I talk about how the most money is spent, the most time is spent by us, right? Us, not the C-class guy. The C-class guy could be if he's working to be us, right? To be the GMs, the masters, and go to nationals, go to all these matches. But your average shooter doesn't spend what we spend to do this. Dude, I don't even budget for this. I don't want to know what I spend. I won't even look at the shit.
I haven't had a budget for this sport in 2 seasons because I just don't want to know. My wife
would quit.
knows.
I'm not even joking. I would quit. It's an astronomical number. There's a reason why I don't own an open gun that I pay big money for, because it's my kid's car coming up in 2 years. So I can't justify that money. If this gun breaks, unless someone's sponsoring me, guess what I'm shooting? Carry optics, because I love plastic, fantastic Canic, bro. I'm good with that. And honestly, there's a shit ton of heat in it now, right? Yep. It was one of the best moves I ever made, was walking away from PCC for a little while and shooting carry optics, because it's the new open. It will be. It's basically taking over because everybody can own one, right? Like you said about the 2011s, bro. Not everyone can afford it. I remember, and I still look at it as a ridiculous number, $4,000 for a gun. Don't get me wrong. They're badass. But your average person isn't owning a $4,000 gun that's going to break because we run them so hard.
They break because of the major power factor.
Agreed. 1,000,000%. Because you're doing something to a thin-ass piece of metal.
here's another thing though. Look at the guns in the top, right? Like look at Mason Lane's SIG. That's not a fucking $700 SIG. It's not. It's thousands of dollars. Look at Max Michel's X5. It is thousands of dollars. Look at if you buy a CZ, right? And you want to trick it out and get it like hyper carry optics ready, you're spending $2,500, $3,000, sometimes $4,000. It's the same. It's the same thing. There's no difference, right? I mean, you may spend an extra grand. Bro.
So listen, it's the slow drip. Right?
Yeah, because you buy it and then you build it over time, right?
And that's why you can hide it in your own head that it's not that expensive.
Not me, bro. I don't feel like buying a Honda Civic and then building it into a 600 horsepower car. I'm gonna go buy a fucking GTR and be done with it. All right? That's me.
I don't want to forget to get this out there, because this is the other thing and I hope it's changed, because we talked about the USPSA. The second thing with USPSA that I hope is changing is the trophies. So I will tell you, I'm not a big trophy guy. I don't do this for trophies. I don't do this for fame. Obviously, I told you I didn't even have an Instagram or Facebook page until I started shooting.
Same here.
I only did it to get out there because I wanted to coach, right? Once I started coaching, I was like, okay, how do I find people? How do I let them know who I am, right? Kind of thing. So when I switched, or when I started doing this sport, my very first national championship, let me rephrase that. And I shouldn't say very first, because I hope to get more. My first national championship, and I'm super effing proud about it, was a C-class PCC national championship. They gave me an acrylic, plastic, see-through trophy with the engraving on it. And it's still the best trophy I've ever gotten in this sport. And I've been to 4 nationals. Now, I haven't got trophies in every one of those, obviously, being a sorry-ass 25th place guy. But as I'm going through this sport, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? $285, and they give me a wooden plaque that I paid $100 for at the last match, local match, right? That I could buy a $100 match and get the same plaque that I'm getting in nationals. That's bullshit. Yeah. So I don't do this for trophies, but I will tell you, there are a lot of people that do. There's a lot of guys that I coach personally that their best moment in this sport is when they won that trophy, because they busted their ass to be better than the last better than the C-class guy that they're competing against. They're working their way to B to A, whatever it is. They're not always the Grand Master, right? So if you look at the names that we've been talking about tonight, JJ, Max, Christian, well, there's 3 national champions out of what, the last 3 effing years, 4 years, 5 years. So you got 3 guys at the top winning all the national championships. Not that everybody's not trying, right? So then what's the second place guy get? What's the third place guy get? Some shit ass wooden trophy that like it's literally pressed and then
it's an $11 trophy.
Exactly. For 285. Now listen, this isn't about numbers when it comes to like, you know, how much money are they making? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about giving back to the shooters.
Yeah.
Right? The shooters are this sport. I don't care what anybody at the Brass says. I don't care what anybody else says. The shooters are this sport. If we don't shoot, right, we don't have a USPSA anyway.
85% of the dudes who show up to nationals, and this may be a little high or low depending on how you hit it, 85% of those guys are showing up to achieve one thing: come home with a piece of hardware. They don't give a shit about winning the whole match. They don't give a shit about beating one guy. They want to come home with something that says, I went here and I did this. That was me until last season, dude. I used to love getting trophies. I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude, put that bitch on the wall. Like, there's another fucking level 2 or level 3 win. I'm down for it. And now I'm like,
now I go in a box.
Now I can give 2 fucks. Yeah, I have no trophies on the wall.
Because they're all the same.
I moved here to Houston, and my wife was like, put your trophies out. I'm like, I don't fucking even know where they are. To be honest with you, they're in a box in the attic. I could
They're all the
shit.
same, bro. They all look the same. It's like, it's just, okay, 2021, 2022, whatever. They're just, again, it's not about the trophy.
It is.
I'm a normal shooter, man. I'm a normal guy.
It's about the experience for the normal. Not that normal sounds harsh, but for the 85% of the guys who show up to the sport, right, to show up to shoot the match, they're there. It's almost like a vacation to them, right? Because to me, I shoot 20 of these. I shoot 20 majors a year, sometimes closer to 30, right? And that's in COVID. Like I had a way higher plan of shooting as many as I possibly could.
Right.
I don't care, right? Yeah. But to 80-90% of the guys, they're shooting 3 of these. 3 majors, and they're taking vacation off, and they're taking time from their families, and they're going for the experience. They want to go, and it needs to mean something, and it needs to be a lifelong experience that they remember, right? That's what they're paying for. And then they work their ass off, and they win, and they get a $7 square trophy that has a little plaque on it and some sublet shit. And if you want a good trophy, look at the Dragon Cup trophies from last year. Wait till you see the ones this year. I just saw the mock-up of them. Bro, that little metal, hand-forged metal dragons. Like, that's
pretty badass, dude.
That's the type of shit people are going for. And guess what? They're not charging any more for their match.
Yeah.
But how are they affording these awesome trophies? Right?
So that's the other thing is we are the problem in this sport, us as shooters. When we allow that shit by going to those matches and those guys don't put out the best quality of matches or whatever it is, that's the problem. That is part of the problem, right? And beyond politics, this has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with making sure that you speak with your money in this sport. So a good example is nationals. Dude, they could shit in a box and hand it to you as a trophy. Almost all of us are going to nationals because we want to go for a national championship. Yep. That's part of the problem because they know that, right? Yeah. They know that. They're like, well, if the porta potties overflowed, they're still coming back next year because they want to win a national championship.
They came back a couple months later.
Colorado, great example. Who knows what the weather's going to be like? But guess whose dumbass is going right here? I'm going. Dude, I want to win a national championship. You think Christian, JJ, and those guys are going to go, it could snow. I'm not going. Bullshit. They're like, you guys don't come. That's just easier for us to take it home. Right?
Dude, I've been loving the cold weather here in Texas because I've been training in the cold, getting ready to shoot in Colorado.
Yeah. But so before I walk off that subject, because I don't want this to be a bitch fest about USPSA. I saw one of my buddies got the trophy from Nationals. And it was awesome. Like, it was a lot more like the Dragon Cup. It was cut out, had the PCC. He actually had 2 of them, PCC and a Carry Optics. And then he did Open as well and did well on both of those. He was a B-class shooter. Awesome looking trophies, dude. So it wasn't the plaque that I thought that he were going to get. Because that's what they were kind of, when you walked up and shook hands, I think is it Sherman or Sherwin? Okay, Sherwin.
Sherwin.
He held the trophy, and I'm just like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Like, I was like, this is kind of shit. But again, it's a major improvement. So like, I hope that instead of bitching about it, I hope people take it as a let's do better.
Yeah,
right? Like I don't want this
Nationals, the trophies, I saw them. They were pretty legit.
Yeah. I hope it stays like that, man, because remember, it's about the shooters. And I think that's something that we lose a lot in locals, because at some matches it's about money. It really is. And I get it. Like you should be able to make money with the amount of work we put in. But after finding out, trying to look at maybe running my own match at the club that I'm at and finding out what trophies cost, I was really pissed when I found out that we're not buying those instead. I was like, you mother effers. And I know there's more than just 2 trophies. I get it. But the fact that the high overall guy and the guy who is C class gets the same trophy is bullshit. Just saying. And don't give me this.
The amount of work put into it is totally different.
What's that?
The amount of work that got put into that is totally different.
Yes. Don't tell me that, okay, it's a little bit bigger and it's a bet. No, it's the same shitty trophy that you paid $5 for the dude that won high overall. It's just, I don't know, man. Those are big things to me, and I don't even give a shit about a trophy. It's the fact that the other thing is that I'd like to see, and I don't know if this will ever happen because it takes effort. I would like to see the top 3 guys of every division stand together. You get your first place at the top, the guy in the second place is a little bit lower, and the third place is a little bit lower than that, and they all get recognized as people that work their asses off to win.
Yep.
Right?
I love it.
I mean, why not?
That should be a thing.
Dude, I'll never forget my first trophy when I won nationals. There were 3 people they had called before I even got on stage, bro. Like, it was like, here, get out of here, C class. Get out of here, you piece of shit. I was like, I didn't know any better. I was just like, oh, maybe this is how they do it. And then I realized, like, oh, they talk a big game about how well we're treated and how important how the big guys are the problem. But I'm like, but you treat the low guys just the same way. You don't give a shit about any of them, right? Yep. Just my opinion. Again, just my opinion. Just kind of the way I've seen it and the way I've seen how people are treated in this game. It's kind of shitty, man. We spend a lot of money to do this shit, and then to be second-class citizens kind of sucks, especially when we're the reason this sport is running, or let me rephrase that, exists because of the money that we keep putting into it,
Yep. So, I see some stuff changing on the horizon. There's people stepping up, doing some really good matches. There's people doing some stuff on the USPSA side of things that I can get behind a little bit, I mean, there's also stuff happening that I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
bro, I'm gonna call him out right now, because I'm as of right now, he has my vote, bro. The Matty Hopkins he's got my vote as of right now. The one thing about him that I really, really, really appreciate is that he's so open about what he wants to do, right? Like, he brought up something the other day, and I don't get into the politics of the sport because it'll ruin it for me. But when he started talking about the first nationals, or one big nationals, I was like, dude, that sucks. Like, I want to do multiple divisions, all that stuff. And the best part is I posted something, but not against him. It was just like an open conversation. He jumped in and was like, hey, man, this is kind of why. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's so much better than just going, F you, we're doing one nationals if I'm president. So right away, I messaged him afterwards. I was like, bro, I'm so happy. The big thing with you is how open-minded and how open you are with what you want. Even if everybody doesn't like it, at least you're open-minded and sending it out to the world. For the last 3 years, I have no idea what the shit's been going on with USPSA.
Dude, since I joined in I think late 2018, no fucking clue. No clue. Still don't know. Yeah. No idea.
Until I heard, dude, honestly, the flashlight thing really woke me up. And I'm not against flashlights at all. But all of a sudden I was like, huh? Like, has that been something people have been asking for? I didn't even know anybody owned a flashlight in USPSA. Right? I'm like, so one of the guys that I shoot with, GJ Ramadani, right? I think I always mess up his last name. So I saw him at the Florida Open, and he's down for Miami. And I shot with him at a practice. I shit you not, dude. He had the lock grip, the weight on there. The last time I practiced with him or shot at a local match, it looked like a ping pong paddle on the side of his belt. And then I saw him at this match. I go, dude, where's the ping pong paddle? He goes, I got rid of that. He goes, you know anybody who wants to buy one? I was like, shit, no. It was awesome. But I was like, you literally need a ping pong paddle on the side of your hip to hold that thing.
Seriously.
So, I don't know, man. But listen, I'm open-minded. I want people to shoot whatever they want, but come on. Like, at least ask.
Yeah, I don't think there was any asking going on. There was just a lot of doing.
I mean, here's the thing. At least pretend to give a shit, right? Take our opinion, take a poll, and then go, at the end of it, that's cool.
How easy would it be to put out stuff every quarter? Hey, what do you want to see change? Throw us your ideas, right? And then take those ideas, decipher them, and then when you want to make a rule change, put it out. Hey, we want to make this rule change. Yay or nay? Even if it's close, if it's close, then hey, let's make an executive decision here. But if it's like 80% of the membership doesn't want it and 20% does, like, why are we going to send that through?
Well, and I think that's the big thing, dude, is even if they want to do whatever they want to do, right? Like that, it's our job to run for those positions, to make those changes or whatever it is. I get all that. Like I'm not saying that we should have this anarchy where the shooters make all the decisions. I mean, you got to have somebody in charge, and that's where the voting comes in. But at the end of the day, at least get the pulse of the shooters, right? The pulse of this sport changes constantly. When I first started, no one moved and shot at all. Like at all. It was against the law to move and shoot because you couldn't hit anything. And then I started moving and shooting, and I saw a change overall in the sport. Not because of me, but I was like, oh, everybody's starting to figure this shit out. I got to keep going and make this my thing, like to where I'm working on it all the time. Now, obviously, that I never followed anybody. I didn't know JJ. I didn't know any of those guys, how they shot. So those guys were probably doing it, but I didn't know it, right? Nobody around me shot and moved. So I'm like, wow, okay, I'm going to change this area. I'm going to change my shooting to do what I want to do here. So this is the same thing with the sport, bro. If you got somebody who wants a flashlight, all right, like one person, like we have 10,000 people out of the 35,000 members that want it. Okay, that sounds like that's reasonable, right? That sounds like a lot of use there. Appendix carry. How much appendix carry do we have? Not much, but do we change the rule to where now everything's appendix in one division? You know what I mean? It's just, you have to, there's a lot of rules that could be changed. Like, dude, look at what we talked about earlier with major versus minor. If we change the whole sport to major and lower the power factor, what does that change for open? Now, all the open manufacturers what are they there for? You can just shoot carry optics, right? Obviously, a comp will work, but it doesn't work without major. How many guys? I love the power factor thing with open guns. When people are like, bro, you got to pass chrono. I'm like, you want to pass chrono with an open gun because it doesn't work if you don't have it. Like the same. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we've done a little bit of testing with that at Atlas.
And
so minor changes to the gun. Right. And a change in a spring, and you get the same success with 150 power factor that you would at 172.
Nice. And no gun destruction either.
At all. Wow. So all my open guns, like my two open guns that I've shot for the last 2 seasons, well over 100,000 rounds on both. And I've had no issues because I only shoot major at matches. I will not practice with major ammo. I shoot nothing but minor. I changed to a 7-pound spring, and I shoot minor. And that gun,
you use Papa holes?
Huh?
You use Papa holes?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, you got 2? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hate them, dude. I can't stand that shit blasting up on my sights.
Charlie has no Papa holes with a 38 Super Comp running major. He's a savage.
Who does?
Charlie.
Yeah.
No Papa holes.
So do you see a difference with the Papa holes?
I haven't had a gun without the Papa holes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The only difference I see between shooting major and minor in my open guns, from 145 power factor to 175 power factor, When I change the springs and dial the springs in, the only difference I see slightly is how quick the impulse is. Right, it feels faster. It feels more snappy
with the minor or major. With the major,
with major,
yeah.
it feels more snappy, slightly. But I also get, in my opinion, a little less perceived dot movement shooting it with minor. Right. So I mean, there's not a big enough difference to where, like, if you shot minor for a couple hundred rounds, you're not going to miss major. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then if you go from minor, like I train with minor, and then the day before I go shoot a major, I spend about 100 rounds shooting major, and it's like it never left.
Nice. What's your setup for your major, for your spring? What are you using for a recoil spring? What weight?
8 pound.
8 pound? So what do you see the difference? What did you notice when you went higher? Did you ever go down other than when you're shooting minor ammo? Because if you go down, you're not getting the same thing. Or what did you see the difference in?
I'm so simple when it comes to tuning my springs.
Right.
I have a spring pack with all the different poundage. I sit, and at 10 yards, I draw a little circle about yay big. Good grip, pull the gun, aim it, wham wham. See where the bullets are going with a proper grip, and then change the spring, wham wham. See where they're at, and just try to get them to gear.
You're shooting doubles though, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
when I went down, I noticed them like this, a little high.
Okay.
And
now,
then,
is that the low one? Was that your second shot or your first shot? So was it dipping at the end or?
No, it was floating.
Floating. All right. So for me, I'm super new to open, right? So I bought all these springs to try the shit out, and I went. The first match I ever shot with the gun was the Florida sectional, and I won that match. But I had an 11-pound spring in there, and I'm like, this is like shooting my carry out this gun, right? What I noticed when I had a lighter spring, now I was trying thumb rest, no thumb rest. That match was in December. No practice, just the gun runs. That was it. I made ammo, right? So I shoot the gun, and it just kept dipping. And no thumb rest. It would still dip. And then I was like, all right, I got to change the spring, whatever it is. But I just figured I made it work, right? I was able to make it happen. So then I tried a bunch of springs, and I went from 11 to 10 to 9 to 8. And then, so now I'm at 9. But I still feel like the gun dips a little bit at the end. Is that because my spring's too light or too heavy?
It could be your recoil spring and your main spring. Your main spring also has to do with that.
The
main spring is what holds the hammer up, right? How much pressure is it forcing the gun to go back, right? Because it's pushing, and then it's lifting the gun. So lighter main spring, lighter recoil spring. There's a fine line there. If you really want to know that breakdown, you need to talk to Charlie Perez, because he is the fucking master. He's who I went to. I said, hey, dude, give me some recipes. Break out the recipe book and give me some shit to try. And he sent me some, and I tried them, and one of them was like the right one, where I was like,
he's out of Colorado, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know Charlie. We shot together at a Florida match a year ago. So that's okay. Cool. I'll have to hit him up.
Oh, look, we got Ron up in here. What's up, baby? We were just talking about you earlier, bro. We were talking about how big of a piece of shit you are.
Hey, what's up, Cross Thread?
I'm just kidding, dude. I love you, Aaron. We were talking about how cool you are.
You gotta check out your scope.
Yeah, check out your scope, dog. Is your dope
Dude,
right?
I don't know if I can post. Can I post a picture in here when we're on here or no? On the comments?
Maybe.
I don't think we can. I don't think you can. It's not giving me the option. Damn it. So today I went to a urinal to go to the bathroom, and the pipes were all cross-threaded. I took a picture of the cross-threaded, and I couldn't find Aaron on Instagram, but I was going to post it up and talk about the cross-threaded sight screws for his scope.
Bro, it's good enough for government work, bro.
There he is, red Loctite, homie.
Dude, so one of my favorite things was I can't remember what match you're at, but I made a comment about something that was on John Browning's rig or some shit, and he goes, good enough for government work, baby. And just, I was like, hell yeah.
And so Tilly was just breaking his chops about it. He's like, you work for the federal government. You can't get better screws. He goes, man, I had to get these at Lowe's. I can't find them.
You got to start a GoFundMe.
Wait a minute. Even better. He gets a discount on this shit because he's got a military discount. So those 35-cent screws are probably 32 cents right now.
Dude, they have a full armor. They have an armor, and he couldn't get the screws fixed.
Oh, man. Dude, I asked him, I said, did he put an impact wrench on it and just do a couple ugga-luggas to make sure it's ready to go?
One ugga and a dugga. And
yeah, dude, it was freaking hilarious, man.
Yeah, so, that's good shit. That's good shit.
Yeah, man, it's good, bro. I'm, I enjoy the shit out of this, dude. Like, I love sharing my information. I'll never forget what it was like when I first started and people it was hard, man. When I first started about 3 years ago, there was none of this shit. Like there was no Ben Stoker Shooting Academy. It was books, right? It was his books. There was, stuff, but it's just not the same as it is now. It seems like everybody can coach now. Everybody's got an online course, which sucks because that's when I broke in, when I'm fighting against everybody else who's already been known, But, it is what it is. So it's great, though, because now the shooters have access to information that wasn't out there before. You no longer have to go to your local match and find that guy that's the best shooter that might not be the best shooter to get information from. He's just way better than you when you first start.
Yeah,
I saw that a lot, dude. I saw that a lot. I was like, "Ooh, don't ask that guy." Right? Like before I coached, I was like, "Oh, you don't want to ask that guy." Like he's okay for what he is, but he doesn't know how to tell you how to do it.
Yeah, right? I saw that. I see that a lot now, but I didn't pick up on that when I was new, because shit, this upcoming season is my really second full bore season. Like I'm taking this shit serious.
Yeah.
And my first season, just not taking it so serious. I was eager to learn, but not learning necessarily from the right people. But then again, I had some people around me who were the right people to listen to, and they very quickly were like, "Hey, that guy has no fucking clue what he's talking about. So don't do that," and got hooked up with the right people. But like you said, there wasn't as much information, and there's still not enough information out there. There's just not. And I think what it is when people have the ability to give the info, you 99% of people are going to monetize it right away. You know what I mean? There's not, for new shooters, a new shooter doesn't want to make that financial commitment. Listen, you have to, though. You have to. It's not like, trust me. Did you see me giving that shit away for free? No.
So I got to tell you, dude, I am, I don't want to say it, toot my own horn or whatever, but I don't mind giving away a lot of free content, because the content that I put in my paid group, bro, I posted a video the other day about us tracking swingers, and people were like, "This is awesome." I'm like, that's a 6-minute video out of a 27-minit video. There's a lot of shit you don't know that I just told you, but I gave you a good hint on how to work on it. Now, if it's a guy like you, you're going to take that tip and be like, "Motherfucker, I got it." Because you're already at that level that might need a little refinement. There's other guys that need that full 27-minute video, right? But I can't give that 27-minute video away because it's taken me 3 years, thousands of rounds, a lot of cuss words to figure that out. Right. And not only to figure it out, but to be so comfortable with it that you can't give me a swinger that I'm afraid of. Right. That's how confident I am. And you know when I learned the swingers? When I coached it.
Yeah.
When I sat down and make a video of it, I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know that I was doing that. Or, okay. Oh, I get it. I get it now. Oh, and now I can explain it. And it's kind of crazy how the coaching has helped me in so many ways. But it hurts me in training. I don't train this much. But
what we're talking about is where USPSA should step in, because here's the thing. Have you ever like, I'm going to use golf as another example because I feel like golf is a great sport to guide in, right? If you go on the PGA website, right, there are PGA social media or their YouTube or whatever, there is tons of free content about how to do what and where and fix this and do this and do that and do that and blah, 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 fucking blah, right? And new golfers can go to that and go, oh shit, here's how I learned, right? And who's teaching it? USPSA employees who are shooters, who are good enough, who don't care about getting paid, to put the fucking shit out, or contract guys like you or somebody else. Hey, I just need a little video. We'll pay you for your time. We're going to put it out there, right? Whatever. Piece that stuff out there. But people are still paying golf pros at every single course in America for private lessons, right?
Yep.
Like, you can get all the info free. You can get it all free online, but you still got to go pay the dude to teach you how to do it properly, right? Because the videos are there, but the little stuff, the individual shit.
So I actually about something similar to that, but we were talking about ROs. And the ROs at the match for the Florida Open were great, but I don't even know how we brought it up, but we started talking about actually, I know what it was. I think I was kind of bitching about the Instagram page not sharing, videos of great shooters. And it was funny because I was talking to him and I said, dude, I really want to make an RO video on how to RO, because some of the stuff that you see a lot, especially with PCC guys, these ROs ride their ass for no reason. You need the first shot and the last shot. So for and one of the reasons why the best ROs are shooters, not just shooters, but good shooters, is they know when someone screws up. So if somebody runs past a bunch of magazines and shit, guess what they're not doing? They're not going to run after him, right? Because they're like, well, he needs those. I'm going to stand right here and wait. I'll just keep the timer out. Hopefully I get the timer, right? And then they're coming back. They can't finish the stage. But the issue with that is they're not shooting the stage with the shooter, right? We have this thing where we talk about how the ROs are only supposed to watch the gun. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Why are you watching the gun when they're stopped in a position? They have 8 shots. You should be looking at the targets that they're shooting at. And when they get ready to make a move, or they're getting ready to reload, or they're coming to the end of their right, go back to the gun, right? It's very simple. There's ways that we could make so many great videos. And my big thing with the video is I always wanted to get a spacing video, like, how far you need to be away from the shooter to let them work, right? I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen where the guy's over the side of the guy's face shooting the PCC and he's still got 2 more arrays to go. And I'm like, bro, I can see that damn thing. Like, get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll go lay down in the front and I'll meet you up there. Like, you're not supposed to even be here. You're just there to hold the timer.
I have hundreds of people and never stared at the gun.
Right. I stare at the gun 90% of the time. I stare at the gun only when they're not shooting it. Right? When you're running and moving, if you're shooting the gun, I don't need to look at it. I need to look at the target that you're shooting at. If I see one go, and that's how do you call a shot over the berm if you're not looking at the damn looking at the target? Right? I see DQs all the time. Or I shouldn't say all the time, but sometimes they'll call DQs and it went over the berm. How the hell do you know? I saw you looking right at the gun. You were staring at the gun. There's no way you could tell that went over. And how many people are seeing the bullet actually fly? Most people can't see that.
Yep.
Right? It's just, again, it's just little things that could change this sport.
I also think video evidence should be allowed for certain things. Not for everything, but for certain things.
Yeah, I don't disagree, man. I was just going to say, I was waiting for you to say for everything. I was like, we'll never get done with a match.
Certain things. I'll give you an example. Area 7, there was a target where the hits were there, right?
Yeah.
And they were full diameter hits, but they said I shot through a wall. And I'm like, But on the video, the position that my feet are, I put the RO, I said, stand right here and aim at that target. I said, is there any physical way for you to shoot through that wall? No. So how, and not just like close, like feet difference, like a couple foot. Yeah. And he's like, well, I mean, and then you know what it came down to? There was a splinter of wood stuck in the target. And the guy said, I inspected that target and that wood wasn't there. And that's why they didn't give me the call, right? Because the guy, the RO, said, no, I saw that splinter of wood there. I didn't see that splinter of wood there, and I inspect these targets. Bitch, please. You walked right past that thing, said alpha whatever, and kept on fucking rolling, and somebody else pasted it. You had no fucking clue that there was a splinter of wood stuck in the corner.
But even if the wood's there.
Even if the wood's there in the position, I showed him. I said, listen, I know video's not admissible, but look at this. Look where I'm at when I fire both of these shots and tell me it's possible for me to have shot through that wall. They just didn't catch it from another shooter or something. And hey, when they said, hey, call's final, no problem. Not an issue, whatever. Keep on moving. Not going to bitch about it. On to the next stage, right?
I think that's where you get people like Stoger and guys, they get upset over the game and it's not fun for them anymore because now you're shooting against the ref decisions as well. And not that those guys are trying to do bad or screw you, but I mean, it's like, and I'll tell you, I watched a guy at the Florida Open, and I'll ask your opinion on this because I was kind of interested in what you would do. He wasn't a guy I was competing against, but there was an RO that called easily two deltas and Alpha Charlie. It was an Alpha Delta, right? So he made a makeup shot. And he walked up to it, never put an overlay on it, just looked at it. And he actually got pretty close to the target and goes, Alpha Charlie. And I didn't say anything, right? I didn't say anything. I was like, that's not a damn Charlie. But I was like, all right, whatever. So the next guy comes up. He gives him the same shit call. But I was like, all right, well, he's even, right? Like, he's not screwing anybody. He's not trying to help anybody. He's just blind as a bat, right? So I was like, cool, it's even. Would you say something? Yeah, see? You're in the same, because I don't want to screw anybody, but if I saw that target, I would be like, that's a Delta, don't give me the Charlie. That's just me. I wouldn't want that score.
Oh, you're talking about if it was me, if I was the shooter.
No, I'm just saying in general. But I'm saying if it was me, I would want it. But I don't know if the other shooter would. He'd probably want the Charlie, right?
Yeah, if I was the shooter, I would be like, that's clearly. Yeah. I've called bad shots on myself. I've had people give me. I had a RO at an area match tell me I had a double on a 20-yard swinger. I shot on the move, and I was like. You're high. I was like, listen, dude, I appreciate the confidence, but that was not it. It was a mic. I'll take it. Like that. And I'm looking over my shoulder and a couple, really good shooters behind me are like, take the fucking call. I'm like, no, dude, that's shitty. He
might have voted for you. He might have been the guy who sent you the message. I thought you were going to win, but you did.
Maybe, right? But
son of a bitch.
But if I'm just a bystander and I watch that happen, there's two thought processes on that, right? If it's just Joe Blow C-class guy, I'm not going to give a shit. But if that's if that's Aaron Edens and me and him are duking it out for an area match, I'm going to be like, bitch, please, that's a damn Delta. Take that Delta. Take that D and go home, right? There's two different thought processes there.
I guess my question would be, how do you think you'd be received with that level of shooters? I mean, most of us are pretty similar in attitudes. Like, we want what we want to earn it. But I mean, so good example, this happened at Nationals this year where I think Mason Lane called him out where I don't know I'll just say I don't know who the shooter was. I know who it was. But Mason Lane, they gave him a double on a half a swinger. And Mason was like, oh, we're doing this shit now? And the RO ended up changing it to an Alpha Mike or Charlie Mike, whatever it was.
But it was like, all right, share the wealth, dog. Throw it in the comments so that people watching.
No, I ain't getting into that. I have enough bullshit in this sport.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, dog. I'm right there with you, bro.
I have a very vibrant personality that just says what's on his mind and have a loud voice, and I enjoy talking, I guess. I don't know. When you go out sometime, when you're on a match and these guys are all like silent, I'm like, bro, let's get it up, And I'm like, we're supposed to be here to have fun and shit, not act like we're going to a funeral. Like, what the shit?
Sound like someone you know?
Yeah.
Trust me,
I'll
dog,
never forget. I've had guys come up to me and were like, I'm going to shoot with you from now on. I was like, you act like this shit is a local. And I go, Well, I don't want to hate the sport. So as all the majors I go to, I want to laugh and joke and have fun, dude. That's what we're doing, right? Like, now, I mean, obviously before I shoot and somebody else shoots, I'm not going to go up there, "What's up, bitch? You know, you suck." I'm going to be professional, but you know, when you're laughing and joking and your buddy comes off the stage and he shot a Delta and you tell him he sucks after he calms down, you know, it's like, it's what it's about, dude. You know, it's like, take that pressure and tension and throw it out the window.
After he calms down, kick him while he's down, bro. As soon as he scores it, alpha
Don't worry,
Mike,
I do that
you
enough.
piece of shit.
Yeah, I do that enough. Don't worry. It's bad because you know, especially for like locally here, I shoot a lot and I have a lot of great people that I shoot with and I talk a lot of shit to them. That's one of the reasons I put the radio on, dude, because, and again, I don't really care what anybody thinks about me. I really don't. I never have. But when you're sitting there and you're talking shit to your boys and somebody else is standing there and they're like, "Oh my God, that guy's such a dick to him." And I'm like, you don't know us. You don't know our dynamic. So to sit here and go, "Tom's a dick," I'm like, ask me a question about shooting. I will spend an hour with you after we shoot and shoot with you. And I'll practice with you, and for no money, just help you. But for you to make a judgment about me as a human being because I'm talking shit to somebody I've known for 3 years and is my best friend in the world that I talk to every day, fuck you. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Trust me, I'm right there with you, bro.
yeah, it drives me crazy, dude, because it's like, you don't know anything about me. There are people that are in the upper part of USPSA that dislike me, that know nothing about me, but because someone else I've had issues with, makes comments about me to them. They make comments about me. They act like they know me. They don't know anything about me, dude. Nothing. They don't know I have a wife, I have kids, I bust my ass. They don't know anything about me.
Yep.
So this sport's been good to me and bad to me at the same time. There's a lot of bullshit with people in this sport that love to talk shit behind your back. I guarantee you have that going on just because you're popular, right? People know you. And
Trust me, dog. I have a very simple philosophy, and I've had many people. Even some of my sponsors are like, "Hey, dude, like maybe you should try doing X," and I tell them all the same thing.
Yeah,
I am gonna be me no matter what. I don't need to change me for anyone. If I need to change me for someone, I don't need them.
Yep.
Period.
100%, bro.
And that's the reason people are literally hitting me up daily. "Bro, you should run for area director. You should run for area director. You are high as a fucking kite." You know why? Because if I do that job, I have to change.
Yeah.
And I won't do it. I'm not going to change for anybody. It's not happening. I'm going to be me no matter what. And I could give a fuck what anybody thinks about it. And that's why you asked, how do you think I'd be perceived? I don't fucking care. Yeah. I do shit all the time where somebody's like, "You don't think somebody's going to think something?" Fuck them. I don't. When I leave here, when I leave this range and I come here to my home and I walk through that door, do you think anything that happened from anybody in this sport affects me whatsoever? No. I could give 2 fucks, right? When I lay my head down at night next to my beautiful wife, no fucking clue about what anybody thinks of me because it does not matter. Because in the end of the day, when they put my ass 6 feet under some dirt, guess what? None of it fucking mattered. So why am I going to let it affect my life now?
That's one of the things I changed this year, bro, is towards the end of last year, man, it was crazy. Like, just crazy for me. Like, just so much bullshit drama. And I will tell you, I realized really quickly why a lot of people don't volunteer in this sport, because the more involved you are in this sport is the more bullshit that comes your way. You know, if you tell somebody... Well, the RO isn't even what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about being a match director in general, like anything that has to do with them. People will bitch about it and be like, "Oh man, you know, he told me to put stuff away and he didn't say pretty please." You know, I'm like, dude, you're not my child. I shouldn't have to babysit. Shit, I don't even talk to my kids like that. I go, "Hey, listen, go put that shit away," or "Go put it away," right? And people are like, I don't know, listen, whatever. But the big thing for me this year, and it started at the end of last year, from now on, you come at me, I'm coming back. I'm no longer playing this professional, quiet game where somebody's trashing me doing this. I'll just come right back at you. I posted a video the other day of me talking shit to my buddy. I beat him one-handed with a steel knockdown. It was a shoot-off. I beat him one-handed, and then when I beat him, I walked up range to the left. He's 15 yards from me. like pointing the complete different direction. I took 2 steps forward and 2 steps to my left. And then I'm looking at him while I'm walking with the gun, right? Like just giving him the ugly eye, like I kicked your ass one-handed. Laughing, he's laughing, you know, all this shit. Some guy instantly, oh, the best thing, yeah, it's a lot of fun to go down range and have your gun pointed at you. I'm like, whatever you say, buddy. Like, if that's what you get out of that video, that I was down range and having a gun pointed at me, what are you watching? Right? Like, that's the comment you come up with. Screw you, dude. Right? There's just a bunch of bullshit haters out there. And it gets old. It just gets old. So now I'm like, you come at me, I'm coming back from now on. I won't be a dick. I'll be polite as I possibly can. But if you earn an ass, you get a good chewing, bro. I'll give you one. You know, you're gonna earn it.
I'm lucky in the fact of I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know that, right? But a lot of people like tea, dog. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, I have a lot of people who love what I do, and they support me.
Everything. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when I post shit up, I don't get hard. If I get a negative comment, it's from a buddy being a dick, right?
Right.
If there's a negative comment on my post, like if you go through my post and you see somebody talking shit, it's a really good friend of mine, right? And it's not because I delete I don't care. If you want to talk shit on my profile, talk shit, dude. I don't have to go to battle. Somebody's going to say something to you, right? Because I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can call me whatever you want. It ain't going to make a difference. But
dude, do you get all these, when you post on Instagram, do you get all these bullshit promoted on military page? Oh my God, bro. It's driving me crazy. And the more the more followers I've got, it's gotten worse. Like, I'm like, this is bullshit. The Ukraine thing is going on. I was like, can we just send a rocket to like that area and hit that server so they can stop sending that shit on here? I'm like, why do I have to constantly delete and block? I'm like, this is bullshit, man. This is why I hated social media.
I leave them for the algorithm, dog. I look at it as, hey, free engagement.
Is it good? I mean, is it good to keep them?
Yeah, just keep them, dude. Promote it on Military Blaze, dog. You see Jen Tank shoots, just promote it on Military Blaze. Here's the thing. It's a free comment, and people who are following them or they're following are now going to see it. You know what I mean? It's free shit.
All right, see, this is maybe why you're kicking my ass in followers right now. So I'll get on the game then.
Dude,
so Tanfo Timmy is my favorite.
On this app.
Tanfo Timmy is my favorite. Every time they post something on he's like, promote it on, and he has some nasty comment. And he like Pornhub or some shit, hashtag Pornhub or some shit. It's awesome, dude. He cracks me up.
I like that guy.
Dude, I haven't seen him in a while. I wonder if he took some time off. I haven't seen his post or anything. I know he was on here earlier, but
yeah, I don't know. Tanfo Timmy, if you're alive, let us know. I like him. And then have you seen Fatty with a Gaddy? Or Fatty with a Gat?
Dude.
That guy fucks, bro. He is hilarious. So I met him in person at Nationals this year, and I was like, this guy's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? He just doesn't take himself too seriously. You know what I mean? He has fun. And
that's how it's supposed to be, though, man. Like, I've had a couple people, like, a guy messaged me the other day about a class. I got a class in Texas coming up soon. And he goes, hey, man, you know, I don't know. It was like 11 or 12 at night, and I just happened to be up. And I sat down and just kind of chatted with him, like asked him, you know, where his abilities were. Because one of the things I do before anybody signs up for my class, if I don't know them and they're questioning whether they should take the class, I ask them where they're at. Sometimes I'll have them send me a video because I don't want their money if they're not going to get it, you know?
When's the Texas class?
Yeah, the Texas class is, oh my gosh, I knew somebody was going to ask. I think it's in April.
Well, I was going to ask, but Jenna beat me.
Yeah, hold on, let me see.
Jen beat me.
I don't know if I have a calendar here.
Do it in a second. Keep going what you were saying.
Yeah, because everything's on my phone. But I was talking to him over the message, and we were conversating back and forth. I told him a little bit about what I do at the class, what the class is all about for that specific. And he was like, wow, man, I can't believe you're sitting on here with me and conversating with me. And I'm like, what was I really? Like, what assholes don't? Like,
bro,
now listen, I don't have 1 million followers either, so I get all that. But like, I want you to get better. Like, that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, and not only that, because I know what it's like to pay for this sport. And the way I look at coaching has changed. I was always that guy, like, I don't need a coach. Not going to a class. I'll figure this shit out. 100,000 rounds later, thousands of mics and F-ups, and then I get good. I start kicking ass, and then I take a JJ class. I'm like, you dumbass. Like, why didn't you take this class way earlier?
Bro, that was me.
I mean, it's crazy because I'm like, I'm pretty good.
I thought I could learn everything off of watching people and doing that. And it opened my eyes. Like, I was pretty deep into the sport, like starting to get pretty good, right? And took a Charlie Perez class and was like, whoa. And then took a JJ class and was like, holy shit. And then took another one like 2 days later. Was like, what the fuck? And then took a Max Michelle class. Taken it?
Yeah.
Just every time I go, it blows my mind longer and longer, you know?
Those two classes, Max Michelle and JJ, how different?
100% different.
Really?
Yeah, 100% different.
Style wise, not just coaching wise, but I guess both. Is it like the way that really different philosophies?
The way that they coach, the way they approach different stuff, the way that they implement certain things, right? Everybody teaches you how to pull the trigger and watch it go bang, right? But their philosophy on trigger prep, trigger control, grip, movement, the draw, the reload, the retreat, the movement forward, the movement to the side, how you enter and exit positions, what you should be seeing, how you should be seeing it, how you blend positions. Their version of blending positions is drastically different. And where you're like, well, which one's better? Well, you got to fucking figure that out for yourself, right? I'm actually like, I was asking about your class because like I like taking people's classes. If you're coming to Texas, let me know. April 22nd.
April 22nd and 23rd.
Where's it at?
I'm going to have Wallace Orchard is going to be, we're going to shoot the Texas State Open.
That's 5 minutes from my house, dog.
Yeah, that's where I'm shooting. That's where I'm going that class. But we're going to have a 2-day class. So Friday, we're going to shoot. We have to go to a different range because they didn't have room for us. So wherever that, I have to figure out. I already have it. I just have to get the address out there. But then on Sunday, we're shooting that match as a squad. So I'm going to do both. So it's a 2-day class, but one day is going to be fundamentals, movement, all that kind of stuff. And then the next day we're going to shoot the Texas Open.
Son of a bitch.
Texas State.
I know. I'm shooting it. You're 5 minutes from my house. The private range that I have is right down the street from Wallace Orchard. You should have hit me up. You could have used the range.
Dude, I mean, if I still have it, I might switch over.
Come on.
Yeah, I guarantee you everybody would rather just go closer to where we're shooting the match. That was the goal I wanted anyway, because then it'll help me walk stages after day one, because we want to walk stages as a group. We had it originally, and it didn't work out.
Wallace Orchard and the range that I train at are right down the street from each other, like a couple minutes.
Dude, I'll hit you up after this. I'll call you tomorrow. All right, I'll message you. I'll get numbers and all that stuff, and we'll figure it out. So, because it would definitely help, and I would appreciate that.
Yeah, and I kind of want to take your class, so I may buy a slot and do this.
Yes,
so,
for sure.
But yeah, dude, it's drastic how much and I'll tell you, I want to take a Christian class as soon as possible because I'm sure his philosophy is different, right?
So you know what, we didn't talk about him for a second. I wanted to say something about the way he moves too. He doesn't look fast either, right?
No,
but God dang it! Like
I shot a couple matches with the guy last year. I shot Area 4 with him last year, and at Area 4 was like, whoa,
yeah.
Like you watch his videos and then you look at him in person, right? And you're watching him shoot. And you're like, I moved that fast. And then you listen to his time and you're like, where the fuck did he get 3/4 of a second? Where was that at? Where was it? I want to know because I'm shooting as fast, right? I'm moving as fast. What the fuck happened? And I've broke down his videos enough that I've figured it out a little bit, but I'm sure there's a lot that I don't know that he knows, right? Yeah. But after Area 4, I said, that guy is going to be unstoppable this year. And sure enough, look what happened. And then we shoot Area 2, and I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. He was doing stuff because Nationals was over, right? He was like, I'm just going to have some fun. So I talked him into doing some shit where he was like, I mean, I'll try. and just smashed it, like shooting shit on the move that nobody should shoot on the move, right? And he'd do it, and you're like, okay, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I'm
So
angry now.
I'll tell you one thing that I learned. I learned this just recently. And this year I've had so many breakthroughs this year just visually. It slows down, bro. Like everything's slowing down. And it's not because of the open gun. It's because now I'm going into year 2 of pistol, right? After getting away from PCC. And PCC has its own challenges. So anybody who says that shit's easy doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. It's slowing down, dude. I'm telling you, like, I remember watching some of my videos from the Florida Open, and I'm just like, I remember what I shot on that target. Like, it slows down, dude. It's getting to the point now. Now, obviously, if I'm shooting a .10 split on a ridiculously close target, I'm not seeing that shit. I'm just putting red dot, right? But I'm seeing sights. I'm not point shooting. I'm seeing red dot. And one thing I learned at that match, I did a class the very next day, and I couldn't understand where some of my deltas came from. And I was like, what? How? Like, I'm on the target. I'm not yanking off the target. I'm transitioning into the A. I was yanking off the target, and it was always on movement. So I found out, I showed the student a drill, and I said, all right, so I'm going to pull up on this target, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to see both sight pictures, but I'm going to start to leave on the second shot. And I kept hitting Alpha Charlie. And I'm like, well, I'm really showing this guy a shit way to do it, right? Like, I'm like, I can't even do it. And then I realized what I was doing is on the second shot, I was getting my sight picture, but as I was pulling the trigger, I would start to move my head with my body, right? And because I needed to know where I was going to the next target, I was showing him off that target onto another target. And I realized then what I did because I was coaching it. As soon as I stayed on the target, but I kept leaving, right? I didn't change what I was doing. I shot the target, but I still left at the same time. So I pulled the trigger and left at the same time like I did earlier, but I left my head on the target. I never missed an alpha. I did that drill 5 times for him. And he was like, holy shit, because then it became another lesson that I added. I was like, oh, hey, so don't take your head and look the other way. And as soon as he changed his way of doing it, it was all alphas for him as well. And it was like, breakthrough. And then I went back and watched Max Michel's video. And I noticed, there's 2 things that I noticed that were really different about him and JJ shooting. JJ 100% pulls the trigger and immediately transitions. Max does not. Max shoots and stays on that target for almost to the point where it looks like he's looking for the hit, right? Now, obviously he's not, but that's the difference in their responses. Like JJ's instantly looking left or right, whatever it is, and Max is staying on the target a little bit longer than JJ. The issue there is it's still a split second. Like there's no difference there, right? Like it really isn't. Like I can see it because I'm looking for that. But if a normal shooter looks at it, they're like, oh yeah, dude, they're both just fast. Well, why are they fast? It's because they're leaving on their second shot. It's just JJ's more, I don't want to say more confident in his second shot. I would guess he's probably more risky, right? It's more risky to pull and go at the same time.
He's more confident.
Right? But I don't know. I don't think Max Michel's missing any confidence, bro. That's why I didn't want to say it that way, dude.
I can't necessarily say confidence either,
because that dude
it's
is
just a difference in style. And I trust me, when you take both their classes, you notice that difference in style. It's drastic. It's drastic. It may not be drastic.
Class?
Huh?
Go ahead. Sorry. Have you taken a JJ class since you took the 2 in a row?
No, I need to.
The reason I ask, and that's why I asked it when taking it back to back, because you didn't have time to work on anything. And so I was interested in if you had learned from that with the gap, you know?
And here's the thing. I did that. I took no classes last season.
Okay.
I took them before I really started taking the sport super duper serious. You know what I mean? And then but I took good notes, and I have a really good memory. So I remember a lot of it, but also now I'm a totally different shooter. So
Right.
what I get out of those classes now is going to be 100% different than what I should have, than what I got out of them before. So
Yeah.
this year I'm going to take some more classes and do some more learning, but I'm also to the point where I want to kind of coax some of the homies who like those guys, like a you or a JJ or a Max or a Christian or those guys, and be like, hey dude, I got a couple heavy hitters, like 2 or 3 guys. We'll pay you a good amount of money to just come down here and train like just us.
Yeah.
Like, let's spend 2 days working on the good. You know what I mean? Not the class you teach when you've got 4 C class guys, 4 A class guys.
Dude, I don't know if they're going to do
GMs.
I don't know if they'll do it, bro.
There's a couple that have already said yes, so
Okay,
I'm just trying to
good.
knock out the schedule. But it's not gonna be cheap by any means. But yeah, I'm talking about like high level, like guys like who are all in the top 50 of nationals.
Nice.
Who want to just take that next gear, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a next gear. You know better than you know just as well as I do. There's a next gear, and there's a gear after that, and a gear after that. Like look at Chris. All right, now look at the top 4 guys, top 5 at nationals, right? There's that next gear, and then there's another gear, and another gear, and another gear to the guy who's in second place, and then from the guy who's in second place, there's a whole nother gear to Christian, right? So, I'm a big philosopher of if you're not learning, you're losing.
Yeah.
And
dude, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed my win from the Florida Open for an hour. Then I was back to work, dude. I'm watching videos and shit, and I'm like, damn it, I didn't enter there correctly, or I see where I pulled off that target like a dumbass and got the delta. I think that's what keeps bringing me back, dude, because you're never perfect, right? I mean, unless you are the fastest and all alphas, there's no perfection in this sport. And I think that's what hurt me in the beginning, because I was like, oh, I can be perfect. Look, I can do this. There isn't. You're going to make a little footstep mistake. That's why I said earlier, when you walk stages, you're striving for an impossible perfection.
Yep.
Right? Like you're thinking about every step instead of the important step, right? It's a lot of times it's literally one section of footwork that really changes the whole stage, right? I mean, it's not always the whole stage of footwork, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't. So that's why I was like, man, you make that really hard. Like,
well, it sounds hard when I explain it.
Yeah.
But when I do the process in my head while I'm walking the stages, it's not, right?
That's what's important. It's your way. It's all that matters, right? I mean, that's all that matters is it works for you.
It feels like not a lot to me, because I look at it and I go, man, I feel like I could look at a few more things, right? Like, but I don't know. It's a process that I got, and it's not perfect because, look at nationals this year, right? 2 days, crush it. Third day, fucking fell on my face. And the day that I fell on my face was the zone that I looked at it and went, short, tiny little stages. I don't need to spend much time here.
That's it. You got it. You got it. You're like, I need to work on moving and shooting and this and that. Yeah.
I don't need to look at this. I don't need to spend this. I don't need to give this as much. I didn't give it as much respect.
Right.
During my walk, in my mental preparation for that zone was not the same as the other two. And I'll be the first to admit, as soon as I started, I was 3 stages into the third day and went, fuck.
Too late now, dude.
I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
My mental process wasn't there. Everything about my shooting that day was not there. That was normally there. And it's because I didn't, in the mornings when I woke up, I didn't do my same routine. I didn't stretch. I didn't dry fire as much. I didn't loosen my back. I didn't loosen my knees. I didn't get to the range and walk the stages like I normally would and mentally prepare. I looked at him and went, small stages, not too worried about it. Just play it safe. I'm 100 points back from the 2-time national champ. I got this shit locked, right? Just do my thing, and I'm looking for a top 10 finish. Here we go. Hold on tight, right? And just fucking fell on my face harder than shit. Ended up like fucking in the 40s. It was embarrassing. It was to the point. I literally, I just left. Like I went to the trophy ceremony, right? And just like hung around for a minute, and then the whole drive home was just like, you fucking piece of shit. Like, what is the matter with you? How could you possibly do that? You did everything you weren't supposed to do. Everything that you know you're supposed to do, you just went and threw it out.
I think it's a good thing that you got beat, though, bro. I mean, honestly,
100%.
It's so motivating. It's so motivating for guys like that, like us, to get our asses kicked, and not even just an ass kicking. Because to me, if I lose first place, it drives me to the next level, like to the next level. Like it never satisfied. Even when I won, I was still tearing down my victory, right? Like I could, like, okay, they almost got me. What else? You know, this, that, all these little things, and it just, it never ends. And I think that's what brings us dumbasses back to this shit, because your performance can always be better. You know,
I know myself 100%. I know myself 100% well enough to know if I would have shot 99.9% of Christian Siler and got second place, I would have been more mad than I was when I left nationals this year. Because I'd have been like, if I'm good enough to do that, I'm good enough to beat that guy, right? Yeah. And I've done that. I've shot against some former champions where I'm on their nuts by the end of it, and I'm tens of points away, right? And I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. Like, I drive home and I'm just, you gotta be kidding me. But that drives me, you know, that's my process. Not everybody, I know people who look at that and go, dude, I was only 30 points away. All right, keep cranking, keep working. Like, that's how you get there. You're doing good. Keep on the right path. That's just not how I operate. I don't operate that way publicly, though. Like, at the matches, right? Like, I'm hunky-dory. Like, people are coming up, bro, top 50, good job. I'm like, oh, thanks, homie. And then, like, in my head, I want to fucking throat punch that person, right? But I don't, you know. And then when I'm by myself, when I lock the doors and get in my own little space, unless like Chase is the only one that's actually seen it because he rode with me everywhere. But when I get in the car, he's like, you haven't talked in like an hour. And I can't get you to shut the fuck up. What's going on? And I'm just glued to my phone, like watching video, just pissed off. Yeah.
When did you start taking the sport serious, bro? Like, how long? But when after you started, how long did it take you to get like kind of, I'm gonna do this?
I started midway through 2018. When I say started, I just found the sport. Like, I shot a couple matches, and then I didn't start taking the sport seriously until late 2020. Like, when I was
over a year? I mean, what's that? 2 years or a year?
A year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you just kind of shot the shit, went out with some buddies and shot here and there, but no real dry fire practice, nothing like that, or?
No, yeah. I mean, I would go to major matches, like not a lot of them though. Like go to a couple with the homies, and then go to the locals and chill. Like, locals were my practice. I dry fire whenever like it hit me, you know, like a couple times here and there where I was just like, oh, where I'd be like, oh man, I feel like dry firing. And
what'd you start with? What division?
I shot my first match with my HK VP9 in production, and then got a Canic, and then shot limited minor with a Canic for like a year, and won my first match limited minor with a Canic.
Nice.
And then bought a 2011 and was like, I bought a STI Edge for like $1,400. Okay, don't get too excited. I was like, this motherfucker heated, bro. This is the best gun ever, dog. This 2011 shit, I'm a gangster. I was looking at it like, look at this beast. Now I look at
polishing it and shit, cleaning it all up.
Dude, I had red grip tape on the grip, and I had the, you know, the dots where the screw holes for the
Yeah.
grip. I had
Hell
those.
yeah.
I had those on the side for thumb grip, bro. Dog, I was. Yeah, I'm telling you, I got pictures of that gun. I'll post. I'll show it, dude.
Yeah, post that shit up.
Yeah, that was
That's
my first.
hilarious.
That was my first 2011. I had it for like 3 months and sold it because it fucking hardly ever ran.
Are you shooting Carry Optics Nationals this year?
I'm trying to talk myself into it. I am. I'm gonna be real with you. I am gonna shoot it. I won't give it the respect it deserves as far as
Why?
like,
Why? But why not?
because I'm an open guy. I'm gonna shoot open full time.
All right. So look, you have what, close to 6 months before Open Nationals.
No, all right, let me say this. I'm gonna dedicate 70% of my time to open and 30% of the time to other divisions, because like I'm shooting limited 10 nationals too. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I think I'm pretty sure I'm on the super squad for that.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna like train all year for Carry Optics Nationals. You know
No.
And like
You should. Yeah.
the month before for Carry Optics Nats, I'm gonna hammer down on Carry Optics. Like I'm not going there to lose. I'm going.
Okay,
there to
that's what I
fucking
mean.
win.
All right, I'm just checking. Dude, I'm just making sure, bro.
No, yeah. No, I'm going there. I'm going there to give everybody the business. And trust me, full well when I say I'm going there to fucking snatch everyone's soul if I can, but I don't know. I'm going to shoot limited 10 nats. I'm going to shoot L10 nat. Or I'm going to shoot Carry Optics nats. Of course, open nats. I wish I could shoot limited nats.
You shooting all the area matches this year?
Huh?
You shooting all the area matches this year?
No, I'm only going to shoot, I think, 3 or 4 this year.
What do you know what you're shooting on those?
6, 4, 2, probably 7, and 3, and maybe 1. I'm going to shoot most of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Area 3 is that Hopkins?
Yeah.
Hopkins runs that now. All right. So I'm going to do 6, 4. I have a bunch of dudes in Texas that I'm friends with that were my first class there was last year. And man, those guys are great. Like they're just like my crew. So I'm like, I don't even consider them students. They're just friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've decided they always go to Area 4 every year. So I'm going to go this year. I'm going to actually, if they will ever remove this mask bullshit from a plane, I will fly to Texas and then ride with them just to enjoy the trip, right? But if not, I'm driving to Texas and then they're driving me to Oklahoma. But I wanted to go to Area 3 this year because Matt's running it. But the problem with that is I'm not driving that trip, dude. It's too far to drive. It's far. So Area 8 was coming up. I was like, Area 5 I was going to do, but man, it's just, at some point I have to go and work my real job. Like,
I know.
So it's, I'm a guy who, I'm a working contractor. So for me, I have to actually be on the job and physically handle things because
you're not
you can't find anybody to work, dude. Nobody wants to work anymore.
You're not a phone call GC. You're a get her done GC. Yeah.
Nobody wants to work anymore, man. And I've done my employee bullshit. I'm done with it. Like I just hire subs now and that's it.
We're gonna, you know what? Hold on. I was gonna say we're gonna take an intermission. I was gonna say we're gonna take an intermission for a pee break, but my phone's about to die anyway. So we're gonna spend the next 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here in just a second. So we have to do this again because
it's fun, man.
We didn't cover a lot of what I didn't get to ask any listener questions. We didn't do any of the normal shit. We didn't talk about how you got into the sport. We didn't talk about any of that, right? So I say we reconvene in a couple of weeks for another one of these because this was a great podcast. This is gonna, I can tell you right now, this is gonna get some great shit. But I told you earlier again. I told you earlier when we talked, bro, I don't take myself seriously at all. I don't, I'm nothing special. I'm just like everybody else out there working their ass off trying to make something out of this. And dude, I just enjoy this sport. I mean, we could talk about this shit all day long, and I'd keep going. I'm good. It doesn't bother me. I love it. I'm the same way, which is why I should have charged my phone all the way up knowing that this was coming. Because when I get on podcasts with people like me and Bill Duda have done 2 4-hour podcasts, and that's only because Instagram cuts us off at 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like it'd probably be 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd be the sun coming up, and we're still on the live. You know what I mean? It gets a little ridiculous. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up But fuck, man, I wish we would have covered. So we could keep going for so long if my phone
Dude,
wasn't.
it's good, man. We'll just come on in a couple of weeks. We're good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm coming down to Texas very soon. So actually, I'll be in Alabama. So we'll have something else to talk about in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, fuck yeah. Let's do it again because I'm going to crank out a couple more of these. Let's do it again in a couple weeks. Let's say 2 to 3 weeks we do this thing again because we've got so much more to cover.
yeah, we didn't. It was actually perfect timing that I went to the Open and then we made it. I remember I told you, we were like, hey, can you do the podcast? I was like, I got to do this match first. And then I was like, well, shit, it worked out good. I had something positive to talk about.
Yeah, you had a dub, dude. Had the big
That was
dub.
pretty awesome. Yeah, man.
People up.
Pretty cool.
4%, bro. 4% is a lot on some super duper squad guys. So I'd be pretty jazzed up about that.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It was fun.
Next Level Podcast. Is that your podcast?
Yeah, that's mine, bro.
It's your podcast, right? All right, cool. Yeah, hey, dude,
I don't do a lot of guests, man, because I don't. The reason I don't do a lot of guests because I'm not a big question guy. I like what we just did today, right? Like I don't mind answering questions and stuff like that, but I like just being us, you know, where it's not me interviewing you or you interviewing me. It's just us shooting shit, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's right. We can't leave without doing the picks.
Oh God, I don't even know who these people are.
Okay. Real quick, while I'm gonna unplug my headphones so I can hear you, but real quick, while I've got to take a piss bigger than shit. Give me your who you think's gonna win each nationals. We're gonna start with low cap.
Oh man, I don't even know, dude. You got to go with Nils, like without a doubt.
For which one?
Nils will take production again. I think that. I mean, until I'm a big, you got to knock the champ off. So I think he wins that. I'd like to see Paul Kerr win single stack this year. I think he's got a good chance. He's getting closer and closer every year. I think he's peeing in the corner, guys.
What about limited 10?
You, I guess. I don't even know anybody who's shooting that.
Woo!
Yeah. You got your first brown nose on your podcast, bro.
Yeah, buddy. Nobody ever picks me. It's bullshit.
Maybe it's because the way you walk stages is stupid.
That is probably the case. Everybody sees me walk stages and they're like, look at this fucking idiot.
He's like, look at this guy. He's trying to work his footwork out. He hadn't even left the position yet.
Yeah. Look at this fucking idiot looking at his toes.
So if I take a little step here and a little step there and a little step here, I got it.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If I keep my knee at this angle,
yeah,
right. X amount of trajectory power.
Right. So if Siler's shooting limited 10, dude, I'm a big guy about you got to knock the champ off, right? Like the only time I'll change that is for Carrot. But go on. Who's the next division before I answer that? Go ahead.
I agree with you on Nils for production. Nils is a beast. I think the only person that has a legitimate shot is JJ again.
Is Harrington coming back? Because I know he's doing some 3-gun now, and I think he might be taking a break from USPSA.
He did tell me he likes 3-gun more.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. He's going to shoot whatever the Army tells him to shoot. I can tell you that right now. So,
well, I think they're putting him in 3. I think from what I heard, again, this is just a conversation, he's done well enough in USPSA that they're like, hey, man, you want to do 3-gun? And I think they need someone there, right? Yeah. Like a lot of those guys have left that were their 3-gun guys. So
yeah, for sure.
I feel bad for anybody who has to shoot against him.
No shit. That guy's a freak. I love him to death, though. One of the nicest people. And then he can cut loose a little bit. He cuts loose too. You just got to get him in the right setting. He's got to get real comfortable with you. But once he gets real comfortable with you, he cuts loose a little bit. Not in public, but
right.
Not when you're away.
That's cool.
I like Paul Kerr for single stack. That guy's a beast. I didn't know who Paul Kerr was until like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I always tell him, I was like, dude, you don't even use your sights. But he does. Like, Bro. He really does. Like, he's unbelievable. The first time I ever met him, he was with Gilbert Perez, And I was like, you guys are like that draw, his scoop draw. And then he's accurate from the scoop draw. I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like that's like, I don't even know how you even do that.
Fucking .4 out of the holster.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And hitting shit. So I'm friends with them. I'm friends with Paul. And I talked to him a lot. We're in a group stat with all the guys from Tennessee and shit. And I talked to him and he was just like, some of his improvements this year are to use the sights a little bit more. Like he uses them, but I think he's such a good shooter. He's got such great fundamentals that sometimes I think he loses that a little bit and gets a little bit chart deltas and stuff like that. Great. So that was one of the things that this year at Nationals, I asked him, how's it going? He goes, I feel like I'm shooting super slow. And I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, but I'm getting good hits. I'm like, okay, cool. And he goes, but I feel slow, 5th overall, right? Like, and the margins are very tight at that top 5 at that kind of level. So I'm laughing my ass off when he's like, yeah, I'm shooting slow. And I'm like, yeah, okay, real slow, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shut up.
Yep.
So that just shows you the levels that they can shoot at faster than they do.
Yeah.
But
limited 10, I agree with your pick. Me, of course. If Christian isn't going to shoot limited 10, he already called me. He was like, hey, bro, I don't want the business, so I'm going to stay away. I know you're shooting.
I don't want the business.
Yeah, so he's
you don't want the smoke? He didn't want the smoke, bro.
I don't want the smoke, dog. I don't want the smoke. He doesn't want a fucking goober like me to be the first one to beat him.
Bring out that, what, just take a picture of that STI and call him out right now. Tell him you're going to whip his ass with the red button.
I'm going to fuck you up like dynamite, son.
So do you feel dirty? Do you feel dirty that you own that gun when you should have been buying an Atlas from the beginning?
Oh, I don't own that gun anymore.
I know, but I'm saying your first gun should have been an Atlas.
Oh, no, dude. No way. I wouldn't have been able to appreciate them.
You're a terribly sponsored shooter. The answer was absolutely I should have bought that Atlas first.
See, that's the thing. All right, listen. I am who I am, dude. I'm not going to give you the cookie cutter answer. I'm going to give you the real one, dog. Absolutely not, because I wouldn't have been able to.
I'm ready for my contract. I just sold the gun. You
did it better than I did. No, because I had the STI, and then I had a Bad Dog Custom, which that was my first venture into custom 2011s, right? And great gun. I still have that one, only because it has my name engraved on the slide and shit.
Oh, right? Nice.
It's pretty badass. But I call it the Michael Strahan because it has a.
It's got a gap.
So it has an island barrel, but there's a gap between the island barrel and the slide. So
that's awesome.
I call it the Michael Strahan. But awesome. I still have that gun. It's got 100,000 rounds to it. It's still banging. And then I got picked up by Atlas, and that's when I started shooting the Atlases. But when I got my first one, I was like, okay, is this what these are supposed to feel like? All right. And oh my God, it doesn't break. Look at that.
Nice.
But yeah, I appreciate the Atlases more now because I went through the headaches of having an old STI and some other stuff, But yeah, no, terrible salesmanship. But hey, dude, it's the real answer. What do you want me to tell you? I could have been the guy to be like, oh yeah, bro, everyone should have an Atlas for their first 2011. You fucking suffer. You should suffer through shitty 2011s before you get to the good ones.
So I hate to tell you, bro, but I think that was the right answer. I like that answer. That's the answer I would give as well, because nothing worse than people shilling a product that aren't even good at using it, right? Yeah. Like it's this is a weird sport for sponsorship, bro. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters whether your genitalia is the proper genitalia. And it's frustrating because it's like, dude, I'm putting in the work. I'm winning matches and I'm buying used open guns.
Dude.
But I don't.
Hey, if I show up to Carry Optics Nats, dude, it's with a Canic.
Yeah, dude, I love it. That's a great gun.
I love that thing.
Yeah.
And it is 100% stock. Yeah. None of those fancy Freedom Smith triggers like you fucking pansies and all your brass inserts and. I got a Romeo 3 XL on that bitch, and you know how I got it on there? I had to take one of their plates, and I had to make shims. I had to make homemade shims to go under that plate there to pick it up enough for the Romeo 3 seat right, all right? I fucking
Bro,
committed.
this gun is phenomenal. Like, seriously, I know a lot of people love the SIGs, and there's nothing wrong with them. But my problem with the SIG was that it was just so blocky, and my hand just didn't. And again, if I spent a lot of time on it, I'm sure it would be fine. But this thing just, I mean, I went back and practiced with it not that long ago, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much control I have over this gun, because I just cranked down on that thing, and it's just like, all right, all I have to do is pull the trigger when it tells me to. It's pretty crazy. But all right, so give me your next one, because I know you got to get going soon. So what's your next? We did limited 10.
I'm going to get the new Canic for carry optic snats, the brand new one that just came out.
So I would like
SHOT Show.
Yeah, my problem with them, dude, is with that gun is I haven't had a hand on it, right? I want to feel it, obviously, but none of the parts fit from the old gun. So
I'll say,
do you have that gun?
No, but it is coming shortly.
Yeah.
But I played with it at SHOT Show a little bit. I may or may not know a few people with them already who I got to shoot it a little bit. And dude, for a striker fired gun, chef's kiss. Yeah. Fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I'm excited, dude, because I love this one. So I can't imagine the improvements that would make it better. It's got to be better. I mean, they made it a competition gun this time.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So I'm excited.
Great. So CO Nats, who you got?
Come on, bro. Right here. I'm not. There's no more 25th place bullshit, right? I proved this weekend to myself that I can win.
Yep.
Right?
And that's the most important thing. That's the biggest mental block in winning.
No bullshit talk either. Like, straight up, no bullshit talk. Like, no, like, I think I can beat them. You know, I beat. Yes, I had minor versus major, whatever, but I still was able to win that match, and I did everything I needed to do to win that match. So it's like one of those things where it was just like, come on, man, you got this. You just got to put your shit together at nationals this year. Yeah. Right.
I agree. I like it. I like that pick. All right. What about, what's the next one? Limited? Mason Lane gonna three-peat with a SIG.
So I will say, I would love to say Mills, but I don't think he's going to have major scoring factor. But that son of a bitch damn near won nationals this year with minor, right? Like, that just says, I really want his Canic sponsorship. So I want him to go and give me that, but no, I'm just kidding.
Just suck.
Dude, first of all, he's an awesome guy. Like, I've talked, his wife, honestly, I like his wife more than him because I talk to her more. She's awesome.
Wife's hilarious. And she's hilarious.
Awesome,
2 of my favorite
dude.
people, yeah.
I love her. But the thing with him is, dude, he's so good. So to me, it's a Nils Mason, right? And from what I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but did Mason shoot nationals this year with a covered dot?
I don't know. What?
Somebody said he covered his dot, like with all the training stuff that they talk about where the dot's covered at nationals. I don't know if he did that though. That might just, you know how it is, USPSA, dude. Some guy just like, oh man, I covered my dot with a sticker, and I shot all nationals with it.
You heard it here first, folks. Via Tom. He covered his dot and won nationals and beat everyone's ass. Tom said it first.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he did, but I'm telling you, that's what was the word, was that he actually did that. So if he did that, dude, that's balls out, right? Like that's pretty ballsy.
I don't think he would have done that.
I don't think so either. Not at that level. Those guys.
Makes no sense. Distance targets, you wouldn't be able to see the target. That's a no-go.
Yeah, every bit matters.
Highly doubt that. What about open?
I don't have enough time behind open to guarantee that to say that I'll win. But Christian, dude, you just listen until those guys get knocked off. It's really hard. Like I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I'm at the point now where, you've had 3 chances to beat the guy. Until somebody knocks Christian off, Christian is going to be my pick for Open Nationals.
So the only other person that's consistently that close is JJ.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is JJ. And it's like,
and trust me, my pick to beat him, if anyone beats him, is JJ.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, JJ
I will
is,
tell you,
in my
I will
opinion,
tell
an
you, I
all-time
have a
great.
chance. I will say that I have a chance, but that's just the competitor inside of me. But I need a long year. This is going to be a very interesting year in using the open gun. I have got to put a shit ton of time behind it because it's not the same, right?
Yeah.
Carry optics, I have a lot of confidence in because I spent an entire year shooting it. And take out day 2, which I'm going to fix this year. Take out day 2, I'm right in the hit. I think I would have been right in the thick of it. I mean, zone 1 and zone 2 or zone 3, I shot great. Like, I was in it. But zone 2 fucking destroyed me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Destroyed
When excuse me, when I fix some small things, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I believe it. And I'm going to confirm it. I'm going to confirm it in some majors, and we'll see what happens, you know?
At the end of the day, Christian's the man until he gets knocked off, right? Like Max Michel and JJ, because they kind of just switched back and forth there for that Nationals, who knows? Like, they got to, I mean, obviously those are the guys to beat, right? Yeah. Like, I'm going to sit here all day long, but you have to knock those guys off. Yeah. And the biggest thing is, and I know Christian, I don't know if Christian is or not, you know him a little bit better than I do, but those guys literally shoot for a living. So it's very difficult to go have a real job and then try to chase those dudes down, right?
Christian now does not have that luxury.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see if it changes.
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, he's working a full-time job.
Yeah.
Financial advisor. I mean.
Yeah. Well, he's going to get the adult version. What's really scary about that guy is if he has a real job now and he comes back and beats the shit out of all of us.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what? Like, dude, you have a job now. You're not supposed to, do this. You're supposed to be so exhausted.
He was a full-time college student kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And a full-time college student is basically a full-time job, and he couldn't have his guns on campus, so he would have to drive a couple hours home on the weekends to train. So it's not like the guy was putting in the amount of work that I don't want to say that. I don't want to downplay it, but he's not at the range all day every day. It's just not how it works.
I think that's, well, you know what? And neither is Max and neither is JJ, right? Like those guys, but they're like JJ coaches a lot. Like I'm really surprised.
They also have 16, 17, 20 years on the kid in experience.
Right. And that's the difference. I'm telling you, dude, that was one thing I learned at JJ's class was JJ talked about his years of experience. And actually, I think it was also, he did a video with Max Graffel, and he talked about the 25 years of shooting, like since he was a young kid. And I was like, how do you gain that? You don't. Like, I'm 43 years old, bro. Like, I'm not young at all. So I'm like, I don't have 20 years in this sport at a high level. Right?
Trust me, dude. I'm turning 28 in like 4 days.
Right.
And I feel like I started 18 years late. Like, I'm mad. Like, I'm looking at my parents going, you motherfuckers told me I could be an NFL player and all this other shit, and I spent all this time in high school and college playing fucking football when I could have been doing this bullshit instead of hurting my fucking knees and my back and my neck and my arms and everything else. All these fucking surgeries across my body, and I could have just been shooting the whole time, you fucks. And they're like, we didn't know.
Yeah. There's no, dude, but the thing is, there's really no money in this unless you're coaching.
Oh, 100%
or you're
not.
Well, like JJ and those guys, like, it's funny, they have contracts with pretty big size companies and they still coach a lot. So that just shows you the money's not, those companies are great companies, but at the end of the day, you have to have a side hustle, right? And that's, like you said, the monetization of the product.
Yeah. Hey, dude, listen, I ain't doing this podcast for free. I did in the beginning, but when you turn that sumbitch on, you hear some sponsorship, and trust me, it's only going to get bigger, and it's only going to, and I train people now I don't advertise. I don't do any of that just because I'm still learning as a trainer. I don't. All right, as a coach, I coached youth shooting for a couple years.
Right.
I believe that I'm a good coach, right? But I am not 100% comfortable with the product I'm putting out on the trying to get it to everybody at every level thing, right?
Right.
I can teach I can coach certain people. I can't coach others right now, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because there's different levels. So I don't know how much longer you want to go, dude, because I can go on forever. But you brought it as kind of something.
I'm at 2% battery.
All right.
I'm at 2% battery life, so we're gonna hold that for the next one. But
Cool. All right, cool,
we're gonna hold that to the next one because it's a great topic. But we are gonna wrap it up. But dude, I cannot thank you enough for being on here. This was a treat for myself.
It was fun, bro. There's a lot to be, dude. There's a lot to get out to the world. Let's get it.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. You think this one was good, people? Just wait till the next one because now we're gonna actually cover some real shit. But
all right, man. It sounds good, bro.
But yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Tom Castro, everybody. You can find him at his Instagram, Tom Castro Shooting Academy. And then what's your website?
It's tcsacoaching.com.
Easy peasy lemon.
That's it, bro. Make it easy.
You trying to shout out anybody? What, you got any sponsors you need to shout out?
No, man. Actually, I use Brass Monkey bullets. That's really one of. I'm trying to think of next one, bro. I'll throw out some names. I got some guys that have helped me out through the way. I got a couple of companies that after Alabama, I definitely want to talk about. So,
all right, bet.
All right, sweet.
But dude, I appreciate you. Thank you again. We're gonna wrap this up. Tom Castro, everybody. 2022 Florida Open high overall champ.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother. I'll see you next time.
We'll talk to you. All right, bye.
Tom Castro, ladies and gentlemen. Freaking love that guy. All right, so I got to wrap it up a little quicker than I normally do, but thank you all for listening. I appreciate you. I got to find a charger so my phone doesn't die and I lose this whole podcast. But thank you guys, and I'll see you on the range.